Yeah. Futures fading this early move to the upside so far this morning ahead of what's to come this afternoon. We get Fed Chair Powell at 2 p.m. We get the dot plot at 2 p.m. That's going to be closely watched by the market. And then, of course, the press conference coming up at 2:30, which will be his second to last appearance at an FOMC press conference. So nothing is going to change as far as interest rates are concerned, but what their plan is going forward with higher oil prices, how many questions he will get on said higher oil prices will be the focus, and how that's going to affect inflation, the economy overall. Lots to come later on this afternoon. We are seeing a little bit of strength across the board in individual names as well. Lululemon, not so much though. Downside, Nvidia upside here on an H200 headline. Jensen confirming they have received the license to sell the H200 into China. So not a huge move here, kind of looking a little bit like the futures, but I mean, this stock has kind of proven over the last little while that it doesn't tend to move on headlines anymore. We're still in this really tight consolidation, you know, on a higher time frame coming into the 200 period, which could end up being a thing once we get there, maybe the next couple of days.
I think the China news that we got yesterday about the H200 could be a needle mover, but we need to see firm orders, not speculation about getting export licenses and whether ByteDance or Tencent wants to buy them, but they actually ante up the money, Brendo, and send the revenue Nvidia's way, because as Jensen said, all but zero. Lots to talk about today, guys. Good morning. Did you see that SWMR IPO yesterday, SWMR? What a move. Wild. And perfect timing. I hate to put it like this so crudely, but, you know, drones are in focus at the moment. And this is basically one of those ones where, it swarms. Like, literally, that's what it said. I mean, I
sometimes it's all in the name.
No, I mean, and the ticker too, right? That was a really good one in the afternoon yesterday. I think it'll probably be another play today. It's green this morning, Brendo. It's up another 27%, so something to focus on. Also, Bob Iger out. New CEO in after taking over again from Bob Chapek, his handpicked selection, and we'll see where the company
It didn't go too well the first time around. Let's see what happens the second time around. Disney not really doing too much so far this morning, but a couple things. Lulu, as I mentioned, downside here this morning. My chart's not working, but the number's actually not too bad for Lulu. The guide was the issue, way below for Q1 on the guide for Lululemon, which was kind of interesting. The China angle for Nvidia, also curious given what else is going on in the world, how this meeting between the U.S. and China delayed, for a month, and then all of a sudden out of nowhere, we have some give and take once again, it seems like.
Yeah, absolutely. It's an on again, off again type relationship. Again, I think really when the needle moves will be when the firm orders are placed and the chips are shipped. We'll have to keep an eye on that. What else do we have? There's a whole lot moving this morning. Let's take a quick look over here. The morning note is loaded, Brendo. Tesla picking up that $4.3 billion LG battery deal that was basically kicked to the side by GM as they shifted their focus back to these extended range vehicles away from just BEVs. Meta with Manus, and they're going to get like an open claw type thing. They're trying to, catch up with the hype, and SoFi pushing back against that muddy waters short seller report.
As they should. Yeah, nice little bounce here for SoFi. We'll see if it can stick. We had a bit of a move going back probably half an hour ago or so in oil. I brought up USO here, but it came right back down. So we did pop up to 119 there on USO, which was that level from last night, or late in the day yesterday. It came right back down again. So oil is still up 4% on the week, but off these lows anyways here so far this morning.
See what Macron said this morning, the president of France. He's basically, we'll help you secure the strait, but after the drones and the missiles stop falling. Well, I mean, you need to secure the strait for exactly that reason. I want to mention one other thing. More deterioration we see between the relationship of OpenAI and Microsoft.
Yeah,
Did you see that? Yeah. Microsoft weighing legal action over that OpenAI Amazon deal for AWS, saying no, Azure is the exclusive distributor or the exclusive host for OpenAI. So we've been seeing more of this. It wasn't a rupture, but it's been, trickling in.
And remember when they announced that, 50 billion, I think it was, the tie-up between AWS and OpenAI. And remember when they announced that, Microsoft right away came out with a statement saying that their relationship with OpenAI had not changed. everything's still the same. They still have exclusive rights to the API and yada, yada, yada. And now we see a couple of weeks later that maybe it wasn't so rosy after all for Microsoft and OpenAI. Lots going on, guys. Good morning.
Bingo card. If in your bingo card it said that all the earnings names were going to do nothing and Macy's was going to move, which I'm pretty sure nobody.
Yeah, we didn't even have Macy's on the watch yesterday.
And that's the one that it's only like 8 or 9%, but that's like
DocuSign
a heck of a lot more than what you're getting out of Movement Lululemon or DocuSign or. I mean, Oklo.
They didn't even report, it seems like.
Oklo went crazy all yesterday.
Okay.
And then today it does absolutely nothing. No, but, in all seriousness, we've got a few things happening. I know we got PPI coming out in 25 minutes or so that can move the market. The Fed, meh. Just a second. Fix that mic right there. The Fed, we know we're not getting a change, but it'll be about the comments. Maybe they'll even. My guess is it's been focused on labor a lot, but this time they're going to be probably talking about inflation, probably talking, or at least having to respond to, the effects war could possibly have on inflation there. We get a headline here from CEO Jensen Huang, shifting 40% of Taiwan chip production to the U.S. is very difficult. Yeah.
Very, very difficult.
It's not that, I mean, it takes a long time, whether you're building flat out fabrication plants or whether you're upgrading a facility to handle more capacity or to handle more advanced chips. Like those are the other things. Like right now, it doesn't, like the most advanced chips are not even getting made in the US. They're all getting made for actually a really good reason still in Taiwan. Like they call it like the shield. If all the advanced chips are getting made in Taiwan for the US companies, then guess who has an incentive to protect Taiwan? The U.S. If all of the advanced chips weren't made there, I mean, heck, Taiwan does not want that to happen, actually. And here comes Randy with our morning snack, let's call it. Appreciate it, brother.
Yes, thank you, Randy.
Yeah, well, you got to get it.
Potassium
You
injection.
get your vitamins.
Said there, thank you. Yeah, I saw those little egg muffins today.
Yeah, dude, little
pieces. Yeah, I'll take one of those. Sure.
I don't know what you call it.
Egg.
It's egg bite.
Egg bites. Yes, that's what they're called. That's
because who does Starbucks does?
Yeah, and McDonald's. Yeah, I think they all. Or Tim Hortons. They all think they're doing them, but I think Starbucks definitely doing them. So it looks like SoFi gets all the way back to their sort of muddy waters situation here, and it's all the way back to where that came out at. And Anthony Noto bought more shares, and there's been some refutes for that. Discussion yesterday, but there goes SoFi to the downside and all the way to the backside. We'll talk about that. It's all in our watches as I look forward to going over everything. We didn't even realize, I didn't realize Micron reports tonight, so we're going to have a name that should be an interesting one here as we're at all-time highs right now for Micron ahead of their earnings report. It's probably going to be a great report, but can it just continue this move? I mean, just last week we're at 410, now we're at 470 and looking to go higher. So that's 20% in a week already for Micron. So yeah, man, I mean, I think it's going to be another kind of a rip-roaring day, but the Nasdaq right here is like dropping almost like it's hot right now. I mean, this is just like boom, boom, straight down there to the downside right here for the NQs. So I don't know, is ES sort of following suit here? Yeah, a little bit. So the ES also ticking lower. It looks like it's more dramatic here on the NASDAQ. So not sure what exactly is causing this move. I mean, I wasn't really looking at anything going, I mean, Apple's up, Google's had a great day yesterday, Microsoft as well, sort of trying to kick around that $400 marker as well. 310, so this is still up on the day. I mean, look, the NASDAQ's up, but I think maybe we just got a little excited. Brendan brought us that story, or mentioned oil. Not really a story there, but mentioned oil earlier as well. So we'll have to watch out for crude here. Nice move higher, back in, back up. So yeah, I think this is just sort of the ebbs and flows of the early morning.
Bitcoin's dropping a bit here.
Bitcoin's dropping?
It's been dropping this morning.
What is it, 72.7?
72. We rejected, 74 has been rejected on Bitcoin. If I'm looking to see what might be moving the most, or it could be this. Let's see what's going on with ETH here. Yeah, that's also going to be trading pretty much at the lows, but that's just what the NASDAQ and the ES are doing, but you're down like a couple of points here on both of those. So right now, it looks like almost everything is dropping.
Not good.
And not a great start, but remember, like anytime that we get, this will be one of those days where it's not just the 830 number. Obviously, 230, the Fed can then shift things. So you'll get like 3 3 markets today. They'll be like, what's happening now? And then what happens at 8:30 until lunchtime? And then you worry about the Fed potentially giving you some kind of another move. And then, as you said, after market, Micron then becomes a whole other deal. So yeah, you got to take this compartmentalized. I wouldn't overreact until after 8:30, but you might not want this. Yeah, we're about to turn close to red here. The other thing to keep in mind, actually, as I look up, and it's like, well, the Nasdaq did get to that 25,000 level, and that's been some trouble the last time we were up here, right? Like you had a little bit of an attempt to break it out over there, but yeah, it looks like we're just turning away from that 25,000 so far this morning. But we got numbers to come in. Absolutely anything can happen. One headline, one print from PPI that surprises maybe in a good way, and we could be right back up. But for now, market at the lows.
Yeah, a couple numbers coming through, so get ready for all those. What you just said, PPI for February, 8:30. Should move something here. I was, again, looking at oil, it's not doing anything. Tesla's underneath 400. Still above here, so there's some good looks there. I like that battery story that Sharif was talking about, so we'll see if we can get another one of these plays like we did yesterday there early on Tesla. We'll see if we can dip down, and not into these same areas, that's 394, but maybe we can get into this area here, 399 to 398, somewhere like that. Yesterday's closing prices for Tesla, maybe if we keep on this dripping down, then we will get that right off the open. So looking for some Tesla there as well. And then I was saying this earlier, I think the next big stock is Nvidia. I know that sounds crazy to think about that, but with their valuation and with the fact that they're not really moving on any stories anymore, I think it's everybody's sort of hands are already in the cookie jar, but there's gonna have to be something that creates action to the upside. And I think that once it starts going, I think it's gonna be hard to stop because I'm just not sure anybody really wants to sell Nvidia. We saw it get bumped up there on that excitement for that $1 trillion number. Came right back in once they realized it was like over 2 years. It was, RPOs and all this kind of stuff. But still, it's still a huge number to come through. And, Nvidia around the 200 period is actually quite strange. Like, there's a lot of Mag 7 names, but this one hanging out, I think it has like the best trajectory. And we're getting it at a very, very good valuation right now based on the numbers that they're putting out. So I really like Nvidia, but I don't know about today. Like, you're starting to fall back in here. I mean, we'll have to wait for levels again, but nothing right off the jump for me. Oh, we had a good day from Uber yesterday, actually, as well. Uber, it's $78. So,
but it's right back to 78.
Yeah, I know it's not that great in here anymore. Yeah. I'm looking at Nasdaq long, Tesla long, SoFi short. Other than that, wait for the PPI. I almost said PCI there. PPI at 8:30. So.
ECA didn't do enough for the USA last night.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was a great game again.
Great
I saw
game.
It.
Actually,
very exciting, man. I watched
for the championship. I'll stay up, but
yeah, right to the end.
If like Bryce Harper,
that was crazy.
It was crazy, and then it just didn't hold up. That could have been one of those moments.
That'll be like the home run, like the greatest home run that everyone will forget.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. You win the game, and that's like one of the biggest home runs ever hit. Probably the biggest home run ever hit in international play for sure. But what are you going to do? The USA, so the better team doesn't always have to win. The US had a great team, but shout out to Venezuela. I was going to point this out because someone said gold is tanking hard. Oh, so like we showed we showed the crypto charts like Bitcoin and ETH, and we threw up the Nasdaq. So this is a 15-minute, the other one is a 3-minute. But I think you get the idea that everything is falling right now. So like GLD is not any different. You pull up SLV, like almost everything is falling currently. But it's worth noting, we broke in the 50 period on GLD, SMA on the daily, and it hasn't been underneath here since August of last year. So this, we haven't really been talking about the metals for a while, and it's now caught up to this, or the 50. I guess the 50 period caught up to it, or it's coming back into the 50 period, whichever way you want to look at it. But this could signal a little bit of a trend break potentially if we end up with this close underneath. Again, like you could see the sentiment start to shift over here. You would think maybe there'd be some flight to safety. I think there's going to be a chance to pick it up. But remember, when the metals go a little bit parabolic, they need to settle down and normalize a little bit. And maybe this kind of a breakdown could potentially cause that. So keep your eye on the metals. I know we haven't really talked as much about silver and gold recently, but looks like they could be back into play here today. Volatility seems like it's going to be back in. And shoot, I was going to ask Sharif, what his thoughts are on that ridiculous IPO yesterday. You love that thing? That sucker was scary.
It was, yeah.
I liked it yesterday, Neil. I mean, obviously, he was a multiple holder, but I was actually telling Brendo off camera, I'm like, this is a perfect timing for something like this. Obviously, they've been operating in Ukraine apparently since 2023. What I didn't like, Neil, is actually their 24 revenue, their 25 revenue actually saw a decline from 24 revenue. So that was a little bit of a concern. I mean, the war is as aggressive as I think it has been in Ukraine. But what this obviously opens up another front with the Middle East, and and I think all over the world. I think everybody's wise to what's happening in Europe, what's happening in the Middle East. They know where war is going, and these type of companies tend to do well. Yeah,
and as we've said, many times on this show, this is the direction that these types of situations are obviously going. It's actually pretty active here so far this morning. Just broke back down through $40 there when we came on. Trying to hold 38 bucks, pretty thinly traded right now. But yeah, what a move yesterday. Even after the close, like in the aftermarket, another leg higher. Two that moved in the opposite direction yesterday. One, SoFi, as we mentioned, trying to recover this morning. We'll talk about that coming up. This one, however, is not. TTD just made a new low. $24 coming into play here after that absolute tanking. Late in the day yesterday, Publicis comes out. And says they failed an audit and cannot recommend TTD anymore. This is still one of the leading, if not the leading, digital advertising platforms. It's essentially a marketplace for advertisers to go and purchase campaigns, digital campaigns right across the web, essentially. So, I mean, this thing's still in trouble.
And that story led to two downgrades today, one from Rosenblatt, the other from Stifel. Let's talk about them. Ratings got cut from buy to a hold, with price targets lowered to kind of 25 to 26 bucks. That's coming from 48. It really does reflect a sharp shift in sentiment. With respect to some of the concerns here, concerns that this could mark a broader shift in the agency's relationships with Trade Desk. It looks like they're bringing ad buying in-house to move away from the Trade Desk ecosystem, kind of something we've been seeing with the software space, Brendo. Ad tech sector facing slower growth, consolidation, pricing pressure. So not getting a lot of love from the rating agencies, and the price reflects that. Yeah, and then SoFi, the other one, as we mentioned, nice bounce back after the short report comes out late in the afternoon yesterday. I mean, we're kind of rolling over here right now with the overall market heading downside also. But I mean, this area right now, 1750, 1740, actually ended up being a bit of support late in the day. Let's see if we can hold on. Yeah, there was a lot of accusations made. We covered this on the afternoon rundown yesterday. Basically SoFi is saying, no, this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how our business model operates, saying that about muddy waters. They emphasize the compliance with U.S. GAAP standards, the generally accepted accounting principles. They say we're following all the SEC disclosures in the way that we're supposed to. And they highlighted the fact that they are that as a bank holding company, they're regulated by the Federal Reserve, and those are high standards with which to follow. So we'll have to wait and see. But Muddy Waters came out with very specific allegations about how they're kind of leveraging their loan portfolio and trying to market as an asset, and it was really more of a liability. A lot of different accusations went through.
Default move is downside if it seems like, anyways, if we get a move to the high side in the pre-market over the past couple of days, it's all been faded. Here we go again. We're about to go red here, guys, for the overall market. A couple of downside movers yesterday, TTD and SoFi to watch.
Yeah, I think with both of those, I mean, sometimes you like to say the ball doesn't lie, and in this particular case, it looked like that could have been true. But like SoFi, it gave you this sort of obvious floor that got broken down at the moment the report came out. Like, I don't know how many times you've seen a situation like this where a stock is accumulating for like multiple days and shows a very obvious support line, and then you get a short seller report that gets dropped right as it's testing that support. So therefore, it's almost like they dropped it at the exact moment where you'd want it to fall. And with the fact that we're back underneath that price, it's pretty simple. If we can't hold 17.5, that was the support before all this mess started. Even if there wasn't this story, we'd be talking about 17.5 as significant for the stock. So under that, I call it like an over-under. Like under that, it's like the short seller report wins out. and the only response was nodal buying. I like that, but there hasn't been like an official response to any of the substance in depth just yet. But I think I just heard something about oil actually getting a bit of a bump here to the high, right through the highs. So yeah, you're starting to get another bounce here in USO oil price going higher as the market just continues lower. You got nat gas spiking around because, well, the conflict. So yeah, we have another weak market with USO bouncing. Oil stocks should probably be in place. Some of those small cappers could come back to life if we get a sustained move here. Like that battle might be something to watch earlier or today.
Yeah, I have. I'm just getting the sticky note out. I have SoFi as a short as well at 1750. Just, you know, whatever. It made its way all the way back. There's going to be, Muddy Waters can put out a report on literally any of the 10,000 companies out there. They chose SoFi. There has to be something there. It's nice that it came all the way back for sure. And maybe it's not as bad, hopefully, as SoFi had mentioned. But I still want to go short right here. That's the level that broke yesterday. So if we get that opportunity, it was right there in the pre-market. I'm going to be going short on SoFi at some point today. We just got to make sure that the market gives it to us at the price that we want. And yeah, I mean, I've been sort of mentioning the trade desk for quite a long time, man. I mean, there's been many situations where we had pretty epic drops, you know, in trade desk. You know, obviously moves higher as well, keeping this name afloat. But the fact that now you're going to have like auditors and accounting firms backing away and, you know, not recommending the stock. I mean, you're going to have like 7 or 8 straight down days right now looking to break lower. So we're going to probably watch out for a $20 break. I don't think it's going to happen today, but that's down 20%. But yeah, the trade desk keeps getting hit there. Looking for a good story and then maybe stepping in and buying, but not right now, man. I mean, it's pretty, you know, good little bump up there on earnings. I'm guessing I should look that up. That was from March 4th. And then straight down, you know. So I would say the trade desk is definitely in trouble. And a good short, like if we can get, even now, but like 24.50, 25, 200 period moving average for the trade desk downside. So if this name does get bumped up here early, I would just short the pops on trade desk. I mean, definitely something's wrong with this name and not a great report today and leading the way to the downside. It's only 8:22, man. 8:30 we have the PPI numbers coming out, so that should be, was it PPI or PMI? What do I keep saying?
PPI.
PPI, okay. So it probably won't move the market. If it does, it'll probably just revert right back anyway. So Nasdaq going red and is now red, and ES red as well. So I think you might have nailed something there with USO and oil. That's starting to move around a little bit here. USO back to 120. I mean, as the market goes down, oil now making new moves higher. I didn't see a headline about it, but there's going to be something about it. I mean, there goes, here's crude right now, $95.94. Breaking now, $96. There goes crude, right through 96, almost into 97 again. But yeah, there we go, man. Taking out yesterday's highs and now looking to get even higher into, well, I guess yesterday's highs is the open, trying to break through $97 right here. So yeah, we're going to have to look for some of these headlines on oil right now. You turn on the news service and figure this out because it's definitely helping the markets get to the downside. So, Iran takes several phases of the gas field offline. Yeah. I thought we did hear something about that gas as well. So, okay, thanks, Darwin Trader there. Yeah, it looks like there is going to be some supply issues coming here as Iran answering by taking some offline, it looks like. Is that what Darwin said? Was it Iran going offline?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, Iran. Yeah, okay. Part of South Pars gas field was attacked. Okay. So not good, man, as supply becomes an issue. Obviously, oil goes up, market goes down a little bit here. So I guess this war is not that close to being finished after all. 824 and change. I mean, I love...
That battle stock is already up 12%.
Oh, yeah, I was going to say, yeah, battle or TEPT.
And from the lows, it's actually up 30%. But you know what? Let's have a look at some of the options activity. Probably going to be some volatility heading into, we got the Fed and Micron earnings as well. So let's see what Joe has to say.
Yeah, let's take a look at SoFi here, guys. We've been talking a lot about it here this morning, so we may as well get into some of the options activity. And what we're seeing is a substantial amount of open interest at that $20 mark. We are currently south of that, 3 points, roughly 1740, so a little bit less, but 193,000 contracts. That's substantial. That's a massive, massive short position for the individuals who are selling those calls. You can see they're almost they're worth nothing at this point, but they weren't necessarily yesterday before that report came out. Volume still relatively light, sitting around 4,480, open and closed on yesterday's session. And then a dollar spread. The liquidity's in there, but again, those are essentially worth nothing and will expire worthless come this Friday. But what we want to do is look at further expiration cycles to see if we still have that large amount of positive gamma hovering around that specific strike price. And if that being so, if we don't, then maybe we'll see a little bit of a rally. But as long as we see that continuously rolling over, then by all means, I think that we stay below $20. Now, as for your delta, relatively cool here, guys, considering it is now out of the money. And then also your gamma exposure relatively light. But we do have an increase in your at the money implied volatility, sitting around 82.4%. Moving forward, let's take a look actually at some IBIT calls. What we got going on here at that $45 mark, this is going to be the largest amount of open interest. There is some size at 42. We were talking about that earlier in the week, but this is something that I want to focus on considering it expires this Friday, and this is where we're going to see the most amount of positive gamma, 75,300 contracts there. Volume around 4,640 open and closed. A dollar spread. Once again, these contracts are not worth very much. And your delta exposure, relatively cool considering we're trading around $41 right now. Gamma, relatively light. And then your at the money IV, 51.9%. Not bad whatsoever. So that could, and we typically do this, right? You can use your implied volatility also as a gauge of what current sentiment is. We know that as you're heading lower, the volatility tends to uptick. But as you slowly climb, there's less fear in the market, and that's when you see that cool and implied volatility. So let's see if we can continue this climb here in Bitcoin.
Back over to us. Yeah, I mean, I think Bitcoin 73,000 is kind of an interesting level here. I mean, I know you looked over the IBIT look here, but yeah, BTC itself continues to struggle in and around those highs, right? I mean, here's a Bitcoin chart right now, and we've been up here before, and it's gotten faded. That's all. It's like it tried to. I thought yesterday was that breakout moment, and it might still be. I still feel like it's intact. I mean, there's a take there of 73,000. We took it out. We went up to 76 or so, and then just got hit back to the downside. Obviously, if the Nasdaq turns on its head today and goes down, you probably will get a break now of, looks like 70. I mean, 73 has already been broken, but for me now, I think that next level down is basically 70,500, something like that. This is your 50-period moving average. We'd like to get back to the 200 period, and this is, as far as structure is concerned, this is kind of like what you'd like to see, but then like the next move was down. So now you're barcoding right here, and the next move is trying to go up right here. But you see what happened up in this area? So around 94,000, we sort of touched it 2 or 3 times, broke through, and then it looked like we were trying to get back to 100, and then all of a sudden, and this is just in January, that's when we made that move down after that last final fail. So it's kind of setting up very similarly here, where it looks like we're trying to take out this 73, 74. We get one kind of bump up, and then like right here, and then there's that last little fail, and then we got to come back down again. So it's very, very important that we at least hold the 50-period moving average, which we didn't do here, and then it turned out to be resistance all the way back in. So if we're just looking at Bitcoin here, and this is just me looking at charts, and I don't know, it's just what I do, I guess. That to me looks pretty similar. We're gonna have to hold this. You know, we tried to get going again right there. We finally did. We break higher, we stop, we come back. We have to hold in and around 70,000, or else I do think we test back in here, low 60s. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting couple weeks, or maybe even week here for Bitcoin as it looks to hold 70,000. So as we get closer to that, I don't know exactly where that would be on IBIT. Maybe it's 40 or so on IBIT, but yeah, I think we gotta hold that level. And if not, I do think we retest some of those February lows.
Yeah, I don't like it. That's why, basically, that's the sync chart's the reason I like it for a short today. It's just, it's a failure of higher lows before, higher lows on the last dump, higher lows that turn into a fall, and it's the same thing here. So underneath that 74K, I think is a short today. But a lot can change in the next couple of minutes or a couple of seconds because PPI is coming out, Brendo.
Yeah, February number here, the delayed version. A couple of seconds. Here's what to expect. Month over month number is supposed to be 0.3%, 0.5 on the core. Again, this is the producer side of things, so it typically doesn't move the market. There it is. 0.7, so higher than expected. 0.7% on the month over month number. 0.3 was expected. 0.5 in line for core month over month. The overall headline number 3.9% versus 3.7%. PPI, the index 153.2. 152.6 overall year over year, 3.4% versus 3, guys. So a little bit higher than expected on the producer side.
Yeah, I mean, it's not what you want to see.
3.6 versus 3.5, that's what it was there. 3.9 versus 3.7 on the core. Okay, what did the market do there? Downside? Okay, I mean, it's Fed today. So, as we look at some of these numbers, obviously they won't digest these. The decision's already made. So, the market on a weaker PPI number, obviously not that great for inflationary purposes. But the market's reacting a little to it. Small little gap down there. It's not the greatest number, that's for sure. It's 3 year over year for February, 3.4 versus 2.9. So not the greatest look there. And then month over month for February, 7.7 versus 0.3. So yeah, I mean, finally some numbers that are a little away from the mean here, and we're starting to react. So maybe this number does not come back. Those are pretty significant misses, or I guess increases on the PPI here, month over month and year over year.
And you don't want to, and that's going into now. All of a sudden, you're going to have things affected by the war in Iran for the next couple of months at least. So, and if that's not abating anytime soon, look, we've lost everything that was gained. Forget about just overnight. If you think about yesterday too, like the majority, like everything that was gained at that open is getting lost here. The SPY now solidly into the red here. You're probably, let's have a quick look at, I know we had Bitcoin up there in a second. I'm just going to get the VIX up because I want to see exactly where we're sitting here. Okay, it's not a huge spike. I mean, we're staying underneath that. We're only 23 here on the VIX, so you stay underneath that 25 level today. I think it's not all the doom and gloom, but it is getting a bit of a bounce. And if you look at when it started, the last time we were over 25, it kind of started from breaking out this 23. So keep an eye on the VIX here. We were already weak, and man, Nvidia just went almost red. AMD was gapped up nicely. That's going to go red, 3% down on IBIT. Let things settle, but I do feel like that's not the number. That's not the number we needed, and certainly when we already had these headlines coming out of Iran, not a good start. Not a good start at all. But I think overreacting to the 830 number or chasing it is not the best idea. Like, I still feel like you wait for your levels if you're looking for shorts. Chasing it as we're about to turn red with an hour to go till the open. Possibly not the way to go. Not a good start at all.
No, it looks like this might be a day, obviously, where we're going to be trading indexes. We just talked about Bitcoin, but we can't forget about the other side of it. And we do have today Luis here. I see he's ready to go, so we're going to go over back to the desk. And this is like a little bit of a small cap kind of recap there, depending on what style of trader you're.
Watch, it'll be the oil ones because those are the ones going to move, I think.
Yeah. I mean, there's whatever's popping around. I mean, we can talk about that SWMR maybe from yesterday, how crazy that was. No one, I was putting in the chat here, no one traded it yesterday, but we definitely watched it, and it was an exciting one. SWMR overnight, SWMR there got going, and this is an IPO that we missed yesterday for sure. But it looks like it's a little bit more stable here today. Spread kicking around, 20, 30 cents in the pre-market, actually pretty good there. Let's go back over to the desk and find out what they want to talk about, the boys with Luis. I don't hear.
What's he doing? What's going on over there?
I don't know. Andre's working on it. It's still on me, I think, here. No, I didn't hear Brendan in my even ear. Did you hear Brendan in your ear there?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, okay. I think we might have been having some problems. So Andre's going to get that all figured out. Because I know Brendan was talking, it was like on me, and I was like, okay, maybe we have another
I
problem.
didn't even realize. I was like, thought we were throwing.
No, it's
you
all
see
good.
me, I'm grabbing some eggs. No, but literally in the time.
Andre, just let us know when you're ready.
In the time that we did that, we actually made some fresh lows there again.
Yeah.
I was pulling up gold just to show you. Like we're getting right now is like a risk everything off. This is not one of those moments where you're seeing any flight to safety. Like we're not catching a bounce. Like you think you get a sharp inflation number, right? Like, okay, well it's not bad necessarily for gold, but no, it's going down with everything else. The only thing that I think that anybody sees that's holding strength is going to be the energy names. That's why we're sort of, or like speculating. I mean, I don't know. I'm speculating that if looking at the small caps today, like maybe the battles and the TPETs, which are both very similar charts, are going to be the ones to look at. They didn't do much yesterday. Look at the tight range. But with oil moving around, these small caps, maybe like Indo is going to be in play as well. That one's not as good as the others. I think Battle is probably the one that's doing the best volume. So we'll definitely get Luis when we are ready. Always be thankful says have a look at TLT. Yeah, look at the treasuries today. It's a Fed day. Why not? Ignore that wick there. But they're also falling. So pretty much, if it's not energy, it's not looking all that good. We are now ready to see what Luis is interested in this morning.
Yeah, I was going to mention yield spiking here a little bit. Both ends of the curve, short and 2 and 10 years, both back above 4, unfortunately, with this move down in the market. But yeah, what I was mentioning before when nobody could hear me was 3 million share float on this SWMR. Yeah, bring in Luis. We can talk to him about this as well. Actually wanted to get his take on this because it's more often than not, Luis, good to see you as always. It's more often than not with IPOs that they fall on the small end of the market cap scale, the performance of which that one yesterday had that just monstrous move, acted more like a small cap, a traditional small cap in the trading sense, coming back in here right now with the overall market. Again, 3 million share float, so teeny tiny, which led to a number of halts initially. Just from an IPO standpoint, just give me your thoughts here on how to trade these.
Well, first of all, you have to take into account that it was a very low float, as you said, very small IPO. It is true we were opening above the initial price of the offering, and it seems like the underwriter, the banks behind the IPO, were taking care very good of it. So usually we're looking for longs on this kind of setup if it's opening above the offering price and it's in a uptrend during the opening. The tricky point here was the spread. It was very wide sometimes, and the very tiny bids and offers spreads, and so you have to measure the risk pretty good with the sizing and the possible halts, taking into account that it was halted several times.
A lot of people struggle, I think, with wrapping their head around something that has a tiny float, like we said, but might fall under a category. In this case, we're talking about a drone company. So given everything that's going on in the world, very topical from that standpoint, if you start to see prices failing and you get that traditional setup that we've talked about many times here with this thing coming back to earth, is that something you're interested in?
Yeah, but take into account that considering the tiny float, the locates were very expensive. So almost no one could go short on these ones because of some regulation that avoids shorts on the first days after an IPO or expensive locate. So it was very difficult to short in this case.
All right, let's expand the view here. Let's talk about how the week has gone. There's been quite a few high flyers so far. Just give me your highlights over the past couple of days. What has worked, what hasn't, and then we'll get into anything else moving around here.
It has been very strange week because pre-market we are having a lot of pump and dumps. So stocks moving up like 50% or 60% or 100 and all the way down during pre-market, even going negative during pre-market, which is not that usual, that common. And also we had some crazy runners like this IPO, of course, and we have another 600%, 500% runners during the day, holding VWAPs and holding volume and everything. So Tariff was very comfortable, very confident on this setup. So it's been a mix of a week. Today we have several interesting stocks as well.
All right, give me your top 3 here. What's top of mind so far this morning?
let's make top three. We have ARTL. Okay, this is a very tiny float. You have to take into account this was reverse split few days ago, so it was a candidate for a runner today because the reverse split 1/3. So the tiny float divided by 3, I think we are below the million shares float. So it's a very, very tiny float. So it has some numbers to go crazy. And if you check out the chart as well, it has a lot of room to go. Okay, at least until $18 could go, even fill the gap at 27. With this reverse split, anything can happen. Right now we have lost VWAP. This is the first week signal. It was very, very strong, as you can see in the pre-market, holding VWAPs here, another push to the highs. This is a tricky point. So right now, it's very difficult to forecast what's going to happen here because losing VWAP and with a tiny flow, it gets more difficult. We were long on all these consolidations.
If you zoom out a little bit, I mean, that thing just moved, what, almost $1.50 here in the span of about 5 minutes. So obviously, a liquidity issue a little bit anyways for something like ARTL. If you zoom out and try to find some sort of level to trade against on something like that, just give people a general sense of how you're calculating risk in a trade like that.
Yeah, it's very important to measure your size and according to your stop levels and your goal, your taking profit levels. We always measure everything with cents. We don't measure like percentage moving. If it's up at 30%, I never measure or talking about I'm losing 5% or not. It's about cents. If I'm going long here, where is my stop? If it's in $6, I'm risking 30 cents. And then we measure everything according to your daily stop loss. I think most of the day traders trade with a daily stop loss. You shouldn't lose, let's say, more than 15 or 20%, 25% of your daily risk in one single trade. So let's say if your daily limit for today is $1,000, you should risk maybe 300 maximum in this trade. So that will tell you should trade around 600, 700 shares in this particular setup. So it's all about how many cents are you risking and what's your daily stop loss, and then you measure the size.
All right, we saw your screen there that you showed earlier with the names on it. Give everyone a quick overview of the data in that, and if anybody wants more information on that, where to find you.
Yeah, for example, ARTL, I haven't checked this one, but it's 14 gaps up since 2020, 86% red close probability. Of course, you have to put all together. Maybe today is not the best day to look for a red close day since we have a reverse split 3 days ago. So the numbers tells you a lot, but doesn't tell you the whole story, right? So the narrative behind is very important, above the numbers, of course. ARTL is one of them. The other one was we were trading was VNRX, which is very sub-dollar ticker. It is true, but this has a very high level of offering probability. So this ticker, it's very likely that they will need cash. They will do some offering during the market. So we will short this one because of the high probability of dilution.
Great stuff. And if anybody wants more information, where can they find you the best?
Well, the best is X, A-Day Trading in X, or they can email us to info@adaytrading.com.
Great stuff. Luis Barbato over at the Real Trading Office in Barcelona, Spain. We will catch you later on this afternoon.
Yeah, we'll do a market recap in the afternoon. Let's see if we make some profit till then.
Good to see you.
Thank you.
Profit is always good. Looking forward to more conversation with Luis this afternoon. Guys, make sure you check us at 1 o'clock. He's going to be back on with us during the midday. All right, guys, let's take a look at some of the analyst actions here this morning. We're going to kick things off with some downgrades. And at the top of the list, we have the trade desk. Yes, Rosenblatt downgrading them from a buy to a neutral rate rating with a price target of $25. You're down 3.7% here this morning. Once again, Rosenblatt. Duolingo also getting the downgrade, guys, going from a buy to a hold. You're down 1.5% here this morning as the market continues to slide. Gemini Space Station Also getting the downgrade, $13 to $5.50 by city, and you're down 5% here this morning. And then 10-cent music here, also going from a buy to a hold by benchmark. Moving forward, let's take a look at some of the nods that we're getting. Constellation Brands up 1.8%. You're going from a neutral to a buy, and a price target increase to $175 from $155 by city. Block also getting the nod, guys. We know the massive layoffs, so the analysts are really starting to like this one. You're up 1.8% as well, too. $72 to $77 is going to be that price target, and then also going from a hold to a buy rating. Now moving forward, Micron continuing to climb, still slightly positive here this morning. San Francisco, Bernstein giving them the nod. Price target increase from $330 to $510. That's substantial, and you're up about 0.7% this morning. And then Oklo going from a hold to a buy this morning, guys.
Couple good earnings names there, but
the only one that's like right now, the market's trying to make a bit of a bounce, and the only name out there that when you look at that upgrade and downgrade list can pull up a chart and have it not feel like doom and gloom would be Micron's. The reports tonight, and someone would say that that's a little bit baked, and they're going to have a lot of pressure on them here today. But I just saw Finch Jane had a comment in the chat. Okay. It was like, it's like, oh, between oil and the war and credit issues, like what could go wrong? I would throw in the fact that like what else could go wrong? There's always something else could go wrong. But the other thing to throw out there would be, hey, let's not forget the US and China aren't talking deal right now because of the conflict. So you also have that going on, and that could weigh, and we had some good news with Nvidia, potentially getting some orders for some chips out of China, restarting the H200. So that could be positive, and I think that was leading things higher. You had AMD get some good news with Samsung, but ultimately all of that is gone. We always talk about what happens after the 830 number. You don't want to overreact to it, but like even like the strong, like Micron and the chips, those are all pretty strong, and you're not really seeing any of that bounce just yet. So we're right back into some of those lows. I don't know too much that's changed there. If you're looking at what was already weak, like I think the thing, like one of the names that's going to stand out, like the trade desk, about as weak as it gets. This is going to be SSR, and again, I think you could find like some dead cat bounce levels for this one. It would have to get to almost like $20, so you almost have to walk away from it. But for now, the market weakness, we just tried to bounce off 67 on the ES, and it's just right back at the low. So yeah, you're not seeing many. Like I wanted to show that Micron chart just to show you, hey, it's not looking all doom and gloom. But Joe was even talking about block here on an upgrade. I mean, here's a stock consolidating underneath the 50-period moving average. Underneath, not above. Consolidating under the 200, consolidating under the 50. Like, there's not much to like, except if you like a flat bottom break. But I don't want to sound doom and gloom. But like even this stock, it's like, well, if it loses 59, look at the gap on block. At least it hasn't lost that level yet. So be patient. I mean, I'm sure even if you're looking short, like I was looking AMD short on my note today, it's like it's so far down away from that 200 level, it's like forget about it. If we do pop, you're going to have to show a little bit of patience here. Because when you look at like this resistance level, it's like, wow, look at the resistance on AMD. Well, we're literally at the lows. So if you're favoring short, it's hard. You can't really be pulling the trigger here. There's got to be some kind of a play back in to test some resistance.
Yeah, USO back over 120. I mean, a hotter PPI, basically means it's costing the factories more money to produce their products. And that is fearful that, of course, when businesses cost more money for them to produce their products, then it's going to get passed on to the consumer, which is going to be an inflationary problem. And we're going to have Fed today, so we're going to hear what they're going to say about all of this. And maybe they will comment on today's number. But this is a big turn on the head, man. Like, everything that I put in for the watch for my sticky note has already fallen through. Like, this is, we're writing these notes here. This is 7:45, 8 o'clock. This was 4:02. You're down to 397 right now. Like, there's a lot of, sort of, I don't know, I don't want to use a bad term here, but, there's a lot of, names that are getting hit to the downside, right? So getting kicked in the face a little bit here, right? And so just there goes Google, down $4 almost. Right here was cruising around 311, 312. Now you're looking at 308. You know, so names are coming in. So on this kind of a number, like look at this, 183, and we were just loving life not too long ago on Nvidia. Now you're down to 181. So this could be a pretty big sort of downward push until we get to Fed, and I'm not sure they're going to save us here today. So that PPI number is a little bit more important than we thought here, coming out a little hotter than expected. The market does not like that, you know, signaling maybe CPI issues. We'll have to see what that print comes in, but for right now, it's a downside push on the whole market. And we just looked at oil. We looked at gold. That was going down earlier when that was brought to our attention as well, so thanks for all that. Here we go again. You know, silver still going lower. Bitcoin 72.3. I don't know, it seems like risk off kind of a day today. When I was writing the list on here, I had Q's long, I had Tesla long, I had SoFi short. We've got Alibaba. We'll talk about the Alibaba story. But I was looking long until now. So I think now we got to flip it up a little bit and think about going some shorts here. But hey, man, we still got a half hour until the market sort of opens up here, 40 minutes to be exact. So lots of stuff to talk about, lots of stuff to happen. And I think it is all that stuff. There's the attack on those gas fields there. And that's choking out supply. So it's not going to be a good day for oil, it looks like. Well, the long on oil will be good, but for traders hoping that you get a little bit of a relief at the pump there. Doesn't seem like it's happening. I did see 168, 169 again out there. I mean, it's part of the reason why I like these EV stocks, because I think that more and more people are going to start to get fed up with the price. I mean, Joe was telling us it was 2 something a liter for the premium. And I don't think gas is going anywhere but upside right now. But whatever, I mean, summertime, hopefully it can come back down for that. There's a lot of people traveling in the summer, and we'd like to see lower oil prices for all those road trips, right?
I think the problem with the EV names, it's like none of the US ones make any money. And then the one that does it trades expensively, so it becomes difficult. It trades with that, like, future tech premium, automated driving, and robotics and all that. So when the Nasdaq falls, like Tesla doesn't necessarily get the bump. It's not that it can't buck the trend. We've seen it move opposite to like the Mag 7 all the time. But looking over, it's like, wow, well, Rivian's not doing a heck of a lot. That had a good day yesterday. It's like, well, maybe you could look over there when oil prices are higher. But it's even giving back and going a little bit red. I know Lucid had a pretty good day. I looked over to see Uber with that a positive headline. I'm like, oh, is that support level going to hold at 78? Nope, absolutely not. So there's even the things that were looking really good and starting to break. Like this was so close to breaking out there on Uber. But again, we've still got 40 minutes until the open, so we can at least preach a little bit of patience. But it's not a very good start here, and I'm trying to.
Very bad stuff.
I feel like Brendan, we're going to have the Fed come through at 2 o'clock, and really, we were never expecting rate cuts. What are the chances with this PPI number? Remember last time, there was at least like small grumblings of like, well, what if there were raises out of 1 or 2 members in the minutes? And I know we're not going to get the minutes for a while, but you start to wonder if you start to hear that chatter from the Fed again. Even though I don't think it'd happen.
What we do get today is a dot plot, and that could definitely show that indication down the road from, maybe multiple members, but let's see. I mean, 2 o'clock could be important from that standpoint. Yes, we're not going to get any change, as you mentioned, coming up at 2 o'clock for interest rates, but we'll definitely see a forecast. I mentioned yields popping here. Q Gold off a cliff right now. This thing just fell $120. That's gold futures. So metals, I mean, higher yields, obviously some money going to come from the safe haven spots, the dollar, gold, et cetera, maybe going back into yield, looking for a bigger number.
And this has been interesting ever since the beginning of the oil boom with the belligerencies in the Middle East. We've seen the dollar really pick up, and that's for one reason only. If you want to buy oil, you got to buy it in the U.S. dollar, and the dollar is inversely correlated to gold. So it has been an interesting trade here. You can kind of see we've been bleeding here for the last couple of days, trying to break through that $500 area. Now, coming into that key technical support area, Brenda, we were holding up 440 for the most part there in late January when we had a bit of a dip off that all-time high. We'll have to see if we hold it. We're at the 50 moving average as we speak right now on the daily.
Couldn't even get back to 5,000. I mean, we hung out there for a while, just chopping around a little bit, but Definitely nowhere near all-time highs, but accelerating on heavy volume here, guys, for gold. I haven't checked silver, but I'm sure it's doing the same thing right now.
Oh, yeah, like you're not going to see, it's not too big of a divergence. I mean, SLV is also going to be down. It makes you wonder, like it would almost take like a perfect storm, and let's go back to gold for a second. It would almost take like a perfect storm to see like a world where the conflict gets resolved whenever it does, and oil prices start to come down, then you get a shift in the dollar. But if that happens, and let's just say the tech markets are still looking overheated for some reason and don't get a bounce, like then I think you'd see a fight back into GLD. But as you mentioned, it's all like on Fed Day in the middle of war. Like this is the day that we're losing the trend on GLD as there's all of this uncertainty. There's just parts of the brain that are like, okay, well, if gold's gonna dip into all of this, it should be find a place to buy the dip. I don't know whether that's like we're literally right here, right now, talking the day trade. I'm talking in the general sense on the daily chart here, that I think there's gonna be a spot to start looking to jump back into this. And maybe it has to do when we had like that unwind, it got down to like into 420 here on GLD. Maybe that's the area where it got bought up before that you have to wait for. But you're at a big inflection point here. No questions asked. And I keep saying, look for this market. When you, instead of looking for bounces, participate in them. So when you're losing the trend, probably isn't the moment that you want to have it in your head to buy the dip, but you want to at least start looking for that opportunity. Like that's where my head's at with gold. It's not like I want to buy the dip today. It's now I'm starting to think, okay, we're now getting into a zone and territory where picking it up on the longer term is going to make some sense because we're getting a secondary unwind.
Yeah, I think you got to add gold to the portfolio at some point. And why not in and around now? Copper downside as well. I mean, this has been a play here. We know that copper is going to be used in the data centers, used in housing, new home sales, and housing starts were actually up on the last print as well. So you're talking about, all these names kind of falling back in. It looks very similar to the silver chart as well, where we're trying to bounce around past possible support areas, right? And so as silver comes into $70, you have this as the industrial. They talk about, silver's industrial uses as well. Apparently in all these missiles, there's like a lot of silver being used in these missiles as well that are going through. So there is like sort of a war angle here. The buy is probably between 65 and 70, and you're at 70 right now. So if you were trying to think about another run at some point in silver, it's going to start sometime around here, I would think, with dip buys happening, with big money coming into silver around $65 or so. I mean, it's been bought up there on this tank, tried to come back in, and then it held. So upside from there, right? We went from 65 to 85 already, but we're waiting for 50 to 55 right here for silver. So I think they're all now getting to be spots where if you're under-owned in this space, and I don't know, for me, I don't really own very much. I really only own gold, and it's a very small percentage. If anything, I own, more Bitcoin than either one of these two. So I think getting more into silver and gold is probably a good idea, and maybe starting a silver position somewhere around that $65 mark if we're able to get it. But we're now just hearing like, energy facilities are being asked to evacuate, around the Gulf. So, they're expecting some sort of a, legitimate target here somewhere in the Gulf. So we're just hearing that they're evacuating a lot of energy facilities in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. They're all evacuating the facilities now as they're starting to get bombed. So yeah, not good there for oil. Up 2% right now. Looks like it's trying to go higher right now. Yeah, there it is, 121 breaking right now on USO. So it looks like you're going to take out this high right there. We're actually at it right now, 121.20 on USO, and there it goes. This is these high levels that we're talking about. So for everybody that thought oil was going the other way, man, it looks like it's going one way upside as there's more and more unfortunate news about the Middle East. So here we go, man. Oil keeps going higher and higher and higher. And I just got the note that the car is full in the basement right now. So that's good right there as we plug in and don't have to pay for gas right now. But not a good story here, as obviously energy prices affecting all prices. So, all right, man. Yeah, Saudi Arabia, UAE, Qatar, all being targeted right now with their oil fields. So not a great story to talk about, but
unless you're in one of these like energy small cap stocks, or if you're in USO, you know what? Like when we say not good, it's just because high oil prices aren't good, essentially, for the economy. But yeah, I guess if you're there, then you're happy that these are flying around. Battle just hit $13. This was at $10 when we sat down. Now at 13. But keep in mind, this thing dropped about 20-something% intraday yesterday. So it's essentially just putting a lot of this move right back in. It is 9 o'clock, so we're going to get in, talk a little future. You can see they're headed down. They're pretty much back at the lows after that hot PPI print, and then get into our watch list as well. There were some earnings names that we haven't really talked much about because I'd say they were disappointments. I mean, no, they were disappointments. Lulu was a disappointment. Oak Globe was a disappointment. DocuSign, disappointment. All of them pretty useless is the better word. They didn't do anything. Option writers won on those earnings names.
Oh, hello. 670.75, guys. That's where we closed out yesterday on the SPY. We're below it right now as we got that PPI number, and that sent the market very much down. But that thick black line in the middle there, I want to bring your attention to that line because that was a key area of support. That's around 672.5, and that's a level we've been talking about now for over a week. And we really can't seem to breach that level on a closing basis. We did wake up into 675, but down we go again, Brendo. So at 672.5, I really want to point out here on the daily. Now, if we catch a bit of a bid, we're going to look to yesterday's closing print again as a resistance. That takes us to 60.75. If we continue selling off aggressively, we're going to look to 6.65. We bounced off there yesterday off the low.
All right, a lot to talk about once again this morning. If you haven't done so, link is below in the description. Grab the watch list, absolutely free, has everything on it you need to know. Every single morning comes right to your inbox. Nvidia, top of the list once again this morning on this on again, off again relationship with China. H200. Oh, I mean, this kind of came out of nowhere, really. Yeah. Jensen, saying they finally have received this license to sell into China.
And as you mentioned to me off camera, what a weird time to have that happen with, the delay of the meeting between the two leaders. So we'll have to wait and see if this actually gets done, because we've reported to you guys multiple times that this was a done deal and it hasn't been. So they apparently received approval from the Chinese regulator to sell the H200 chip. It's the second most powerful chip in NVIDIA's lineup for now. It opens the door, of course, to renewed revenue streams from China, which used to account for about 20% of the revenue. Now it's zero, according to Jensen's own words. Approval follows U.S. policy allowing some advanced chips, but you got to pay 25% in order to sell these higher-end chips into China. The U.S. government gets that 25%. CEO Jensen Huang indicated NVIDIA's already received purchase orders from Chinese customers, talking about Tencent, ByteDance, Alibaba, all the big hitters that they have in that country. Company now is restarting manufacturing with Taiwan Semi to fulfill this demand. We had heard that they were looking at producing about 700,000 of these. We'll have to wait to see if Taiwan Semi's got the capacity for them, Brendo. And they're also reportedly preparing, modified AI chips based on the Grok architecture that we talked about for inference for Chinese customers, and they want to build it around U.S. regulations. So yes, they're going to have a new inference chip, and yes, apparently it's going to comply with the export regulation.
And this is on the back of yesterday. If you missed it, U.S. government going to get $10 billion for the TikTok deal, just as a thank you, I guess, commission for arranging that agreement. But anyways, NVIDIA weekly chart still red as of this morning, or as of right now, but still chopping around here in the middle of the range. Sean.
Yeah, before we get to NVIDIA, this segment is sponsored by NextGel, ticker NXGL on the Nasdaq. NextGel develops advanced hydrogel technology used across medical, healthcare, and consumer applications. Their high-end water content gels are designed for comfort, performance, and next-generation healthcare products. To learn more about NextGel and their technology, please visit nexgel.com. And we want to thank them for their sponsorship of this segment. Yeah, look, it's funny because the whole market's coming in, as is NVIDIA, but NVIDIA is just turning red now. So, back into the closing prices. I didn't write Nvidia down today because honestly, I didn't really think we were going to get into these levels. And it just hasn't really been reacting the best. I mean, we had a great short yesterday off of this exact level, and we caught it there, and I think we even added to it, and I think we might have got it there as well. And we just played sort of VWAP a couple times to the short yesterday. So, it gave us the indication what it wanted to do early, and then just kept on following form. Obviously, we dipped down and bought some of this area yesterday as well. The market did anyways, 182. So it looks like we're back into some dip buy zones. It's going to be hard to do it right off the open. It's just going to be tough to sit there and think about, okay, looking at this chart, where exactly do we want to buy this name? Because if the market continues to go down, then you're at a level right now that looks like it doesn't want to hold, right? I mean, if it comes in and breaks, then I think you're looking at 180 flat. So I don't really want to do anything until we get down to there. And I'm not loving the short, but look at this. The 200 period hit there, the 200 period hit there. So, the last couple bump ups, we've gotten hit back down off that 200 period moving average. So maybe 183, but like I just look at the daily and you see it's done nothing in 8 months. The numbers have gotten better, man. The space I feel like has gotten better. The demand for their chips seems to be growing every day. They got into China now. They're accepting those orders. And I like the stock to the long side, but choking saying that because it doesn't look like a long today. So for me on Nvidia, I think it's going to be a pass. I've already talked about, my opinion on the space. I really want to buy more Nvidia. I'm sort of pretty full on Marvell because I don't love Marvell as much as Nvidia. But again, a name that is still up today, Marvell. And it was 92 down to 90. Like, I think this name, if these data centers are going to work out and if the demand is still there, I really like the custom ASICs. I like everything that Marvell is doing. So for me in this space, I like Nvidia and I like Marvell and a little head nod to Broadcom as well. But Nvidia for me is the one. And that's the stock that I own the most of. It's just today, I think it's going to be tough to buy. Maybe we just wait and see what happens with Fed, but market right now down 0.5%.
There's a difference between like today and the future, and if we're looking at the future, they're 4Ps 22. That means you beat expectations next quarter, and we're talking, and we don't go anywhere like we hadn't been going anywhere in the stock for a while, and you could be looking at a 1 handle, like 18, 19, and when it gets under 20, like I think that the value buyers gonna be like, okay, now we're back loving Nvidia. Until then, it's almost like all bets off. I kind of thought this, like today, AMD was at more interesting levels. They have their own story as well, but if it wasn't, there's some people in the chat noting that it's at like a bounce reversion level right now, but it's 906. We're 20 minutes from the open. It's the pre-market, so it's not. I don't think this is like a standard like trend reversion trade. Not at 9:07 in the morning. So I'm going to be hands off this. And the other side of it is just a lot more of a distinct range on AMD. Like this was set up a little bit better for the short off the 200. Obviously, we're not going to be dealing with that unless we get a complete V-shaped recovery. And if you get a complete V-shaped recovery, that's not a stand in front of a moving freight train. It would have to trend to get there. Therefore, if we trend to get there, it'll require a trend break to be shorted. So unless this lower high holds at 197 on AMD from the afternoon, then my short there would have to be a trend break of an upside move here in Advanced Micro Devices, which I'll be looking at over Nvidia. But yeah, we got an earnings name and yuckity yuck. At least, you know what? It could have been, I know I said that it was like a disappointment for Lulu, but the disappointment was that it didn't move more. The fact that after their guidance, it's only down a couple of points, you could read that as a good thing.
Guidance, the problem here. Downside right now with the overall market, we're right back to the lows here for pre-market trading action. But I mean, I was just reading some comments. Founder saying, more changes needed on the board and supports the ones that have already been made. But I mean, you and I are just talking about, like, you can barely get into a retail store around here. So,
and that's the weird part,
yeah.
right? Like, their sales are down, but in Canada, at least when you go into the malls, they're packed to the brim and they're annoying to be in because there's so many people. At least that's been my observation. Guys, I want to bring your attention to something that happened in January. It's called the Get Low fiasco, and it was essentially a new line by Lululemon for workout clothes, for strength training. It wasn't for yoga or Pilates, it was strength training. And then quickly, it was brought to users' attentions on the internet that this thing was like pantyhose, especially if you were squatting. Everything was, in the open, so to speak, and the company responded to this by basically telling their customers to take a size up or to wear nude underwear or whatever the hell, basically blaming the customers rather than pulling the merchandise off the shelf. Now, they did take it off online, but they left it in stores. So the company has not been doing well lately, and especially when you guide below consensus for both Q1 and the full year. Q1 revenue is expected to be 2.43 billion. That misses a 2.47 billion expected by Analyst, with EPS supposedly coming in between 163 to 168. Again, that's a marked miss from the estimates, which was looking for $2.07. Full year sales also missed. Won't get into that. Tariffs and cost pressures, Brendo. Tariffs expected to cost the company $380 million in 26. They're blaming pressure from labor, pressure from marketing incentives and operational costs. And they said, we're not raising prices any further, nor are they going to cut it. And that's what they actually been leaning on. They've been leaning on price cuts to drive up demand. They're saying they're getting away from that, which is very unusual, by the way, for a premium brand. As you mentioned, founder Chip Wilson continues to push for board changes and strategic shifts. He criticizes the company for a loss of creative direction and brand identity. I hope they can get it together.
Yeah, I mean, that's the year, essentially, so far. If you go to a daily chart, just nothing but downside here, guys.
Open. Look, they did have some growth. Their same-store sales growth was all outside of the U.S., so they're getting traction. The problem is almost all their sales are, in the U.S., so therefore, it's not looking good. They have not had an increase in same-store sales in 2 years in the U.S. That right there probably sums up what's going on with this chart for the last 2 years. Like that was when you made that high was a couple of years ago. So again, it could be worse in that. Look, if you look at this chart, like you're losing a monster level here at about 160 on a monthly chart. On a monthly, you're losing the 200-period moving average and that big 160 level. So hey, if it can hang around here after this report, then I think that would be a good sign. You give it that. We usually say give it the 3-day rule, but my eyes are on a monthly chart for Lululemon for its next opportunity. So I think closer to the end of the month or maybe at the beginning of next month will set us up for what's happening next. And if we do end up holding this 160, then I guess bad report be darned if they're going to hold this bottom, and maybe there's something constructive there. But for now, I don't see too much of a when you report earnings and you're down 2%. And the markets move this much after the 8:30 number, I'm not sure this is the thing that anyone's looking to trade, but it's at some big levels, so the monthly chart's going to be an interesting one. It could set up, obviously, it'd be better if it set up a bounce long at the end of the month. For now, it's underneath that 160, though.
Yeah, only now an $18 billion market cap company. I mean, it's not a huge company. I mean, it could move easily with good news, but I don't think it's going to be happening today. I mean, it's a 5% short float for Lululemon, and it's just like, you're seeing... It's bad. Like it was just, you could have had this at 185 2 weeks ago. Now it's too late. It's too late to do anything about it now. If you want to get out, fine, but it's at these levels that you're starting to break lower. If you don't like the report, I guess there is one way to go lower right now. And just not great. We got out of some of our trade up here at 220. I'm actually or in and around, I think it was 218 or so, maybe not even that high. But in this area, because we did buy the last dip on earnings, but I'm not doing it now. And obviously, if I have any shares, it's probably too many. So, I don't like Lululemon down 2% today. I don't think we're going to get an SSR bounce. Like, I don't expect it to be that bad. But, right here, this is a holding spot. It's got to hold 155. It's tried to break it below. It went to 154.75. So anything lower than this, man, I think we just fade any pops. Like it could go back upside right now. The numbers weren't horrible as we had just covered, but the stock does not look healthy right now. And you're just looking at other names like Nike and all this other stuff. It's all these names are so bad, regardless of ON or Nike or anything. You know, most of these names continue to bleed lower. You know, heading into World Cup, we just finished Olympics. Like, I'm not sure, you know, if sports aren't on everyone's mind. We just had World Baseball Classic. You know, baseball starting up, NCAA happening right now. Nike also, similar to Lulu. This goes all the way back to April, the tariff lows. So this is the reason why. I mean, I'd rather hold Nike now just because of this low than Lulu. But yeah, good little spot there for Nike. I like this one better than Lulu. I think there's more of a chance for it to bounce back up. Oh, thank you, Rob. Right there, nice coffee. And here we go. I want to say thank you to Tasty Coffee and to Rob for that one. And I guess Neil probably.
I didn't even see the message.
There we go. Yeah, thanks, Rob. Yeah, Randy, Rob got the coffees today, so thanks for that one,
I'll take
Rob. All right, we'll go back over the desk right now. SoFi on the bounce.
If that is the case. This was a note yesterday. Muddy Waters, if you mentioned or missed it, came out late in the afternoon. Tanked this stock, comes right back up to basically where it started. It's not looking healthy, to say the least, here pre-market so far.
No, well, yeah, it's not a good look, especially when you get a hit piece like this. But SoFi came out yesterday and they strongly rejected the claims made by Muddy Waters in that short seller report, calling them misleading and factually inaccurate. Muddy Waters alleges the following, amongst other things, okay? This is not the full gamut of the short report. You can go on their website and read it. It's right there. They say SoFi's true loan charge-off rate is actually about 6.1%, and that is more than double the 2.89% reported in earnings. The short seller claims SoFi may be managing optics by offloading or isolating risky loans before defaults are recognized. And, you know, anecdotally, just on this side of the border, there was a company here that lost 50% of its value in one day because they deal with subprime loans and they had higher write-offs, et cetera, et cetera. So consumer pressure, especially with credit, starting to pick up. SoFi stated the report shows a fundamental misunderstanding of how they do accounting and how they operate their business model. They emphasize that they're absolutely compliant with U.S. GAAP standards, and they highlighted the fact that we're a bank and we're regulated by the Federal Reserve and the OCC, which have high standards. That's their counter there. They also pointed out that Muddy Waters disclosed a short report, so there's always that financial incentive in the background.
And I zoomed out to a daily chart to kind of emphasize that simple point. We get down to, on that note, we get down to 10-month lows for this stock, so just squeezing out the last little bit of the move, maybe on the downside before Muddy Waters, guys.
Yeah, like maybe, I mean, come on, it's not just that it was already down, right? Okay, so yes, it was like what you could have been technically trading this flat bottom break or technically trading, liking this for like the 200 period or whatever it was, like this head and shoulders up here. There's all kinds of, oh, this looked like a short up at that top. But what it also looked like for the last 3 or 4 days going into this report, like this is when they dropped the report. Look at the support at 1750 on the stock. Like it's essentially just consolidating off of a low that's a fresh low. And then they drop the report right when it's at the bottom, so you can get kind of like maximum like slippage. Look at the volume spike, like did more volume in the next like 30, 40 minutes than it had like the previous day, so that you get some turnover. You don't wonder if they haven't exited. If they haven't exited the majority of their position, I'd be surprised, but you don't know. But presumably that's what it looks like. All of that said, and I like the fact that they leaned on, you know, there wasn't like a panic response or anything or mudslinging. They kind of kept it brief. I would have liked to have seen a little bit more directness, but leaning on the fact that, hey, we're regulated and the regulators aren't saying any of what you're saying. You misunderstand it, and you're doing this to make money. That's what you expect to hear. It wasn't anything that was unexpected. There wasn't any like personal thing from Noto, which I kind of thought he would, but he bought some shares. None of that matters if we can't regain the 17.5. Like that's what it's a significant level for a reason. To me, a recovery after short sell reports, kind of like earnings. Put in a higher low, regain a support level to the point where anybody that's short is like, okay, well, this is where the buyers were winning before, holding up. We get back above there, I got to start thinking about exit before we get to like 1820 for potential breakout. So underneath 1750, still short. We close a 15-minute candle above that, and then I want to start thinking about the bounce long. Obviously, the market's going to have something to say about all of this today, as we just put in our first green candle on the Nasdaq. on the 15 minutes since that 8:30 number.
Yeah, that's good. You know, glad to see that. We had SoFi written here, 1750 short as well. Our Tesla long, the Bobble long is still intact. Tesla 398, Q's 48. We may have to look at that, but I like the SoFi short there. It's all the way back off of its most recent move, but this is a daily chart on SoFi. So 1750, Neil just talked about it. I like that short. Hopefully that comes in. But there still is, like, you know, really $14 down into 12, something like that. Like, this to me is sort of an area between 13 to 14 where we might wind up going. I think it's too much. I think it's probably too far right here, and we need to be starting to buy some SoFi up. But, you know, a lot of those other names, you know, the bank names haven't been very healthy anyways, as we worry about some of these loans, right? And of course, SoFi is going to have risky loans because they're not prime. I mean, they're not the JP Morgans, Bank of America, Wells Fargo. Like, these guys are getting new customers, and a lot of the businesses that they're going to be interacting with are going to be of the more risky type. So I do believe that part of the report coming through, but does that mean that they're, you know, in danger of anything? Probably not. Failing or, you know, bad loans, and as Sharif had mentioned there, we are worried obviously about defaults, but I think we're okay now. This is JP Morgan, you know, under the 50 period, under the 200 period as well. So there's a lot of bank names that are getting hit, and you can go back. Brendan just said SoFi at 10-month lows. I mean, that's the exact same thing here. This goes back to June, yeah. So, you know, 10-month lows as well coming in on major banks. So although SoFi is obviously under fire right now because of that report, I think you can pick up a lot of these names at great discounts now, and I think the financials are going to go back to where they belong upside. So for right now, I'd say leave it alone, but I don't think it's a specific SoFi problem. It's interesting on that report. We saw Noto go in and buy some shares, so maybe that's sort of helping calm the price a little bit, but I still think the short is in on the banks for now.
TTD, if you did short, when we talked about this initially, that was a pretty good trade, down better part of $1 right now from that point early on this morning. If you missed it, both Rosenblatt and Stiefel with downgrades after what happened yesterday. Publicis, the firm, comes out midday or afternoon-ish yesterday and tanked this thing, saying that it failed an audit and can't recommend it any longer.
Yeah, and they're no longer recommending trade desk declines, Publicis that is. The third-party audit, according to them, flagged failures to meet terms of service, which is obviously damaging to credibility. Analyst did note that the trade desk still has strong positioning, but a loss of trust is a major near-term overhang, and that led to 2 downgrades today, one by Stiefel and the other by Rosenblatt, cutting the price from a buy down to a hold or neutral, with price targets lower to about 25 to 26 bucks. That's down from 48, Brendo. You know, there's mentions as well of tensions with major agencies like WPP, and Dentsu. Agencies may be increasingly bringing that buying or the ad buying in-house or move away from their system entirely. So something to keep a lookout for.
Yeah, green candles, hard to come by here so far, guys, for this one.
I think that, like, the difference between SoFi and the trade desk, in addition to the fact, I mean, the trade desk just, it fell further yesterday and is falling more today, has been the sentiment in the stock has been dead for a very, very long time. Like the point at which this lost any kind of bullish sense was back in February of last year. And it's been an absolute dumpster fire since then. So it's, to look for something to change here on this headline, I can't see what and where outside of looking for like dead cat bounces, right? So like an extreme move down maybe would, like an extreme move down that's just like, okay, too far, too fast, and in a day or two we're back at the $20 level, which is the 52-week low in here. Like that could be a spot that you maybe look for. Downward trend break, but you know this stock's been a short till it's not for a while. Like this hasn't been new for it, right? Like SoFi recently broke a trend, like just like a couple of months ago. In this particular case, this has been going on for a couple of years now, and there just aren't any signs of a bounce. And there's always going to be traders and everyone out there always wants to try to pick that bottom. But when you zoom it out, like we were looking at a Lulu chart before, when some of these levels that you look back, when they don't hold, you're like, okay, well, let it get to the next significant one. That's why we point out that 20. Like on the monthly chart, you go all the way back to the COVID I'll call it the COVID high or low because it's not the actual COVID low, is at $20. So I think you wait till it at least tests that level before even thinking about this one catching a bid.
Yeah, I was going to just look at IGV quickly. This is a software ETF, and we really got, pummeled over the last couple of months on this name as they'll hold CRMs, the trade desks of the world, and Adobe, and you do your research into what stocks are. I showed the top 10 a little while ago. But yeah, all the way to the downside. Look at the volume, right? I mean, it was basically doing nothing, then just spiked up there on Claudebot, and just on the fact that, all these software as a services are eventually, people are going to stop paying for them. And Trade Desk obviously is an ad-supported business there, and where you go and it's like a shopping mall. I think like a lot of that can probably be duplicated, but if Stifel's downgrading there, Publicis downgrading, not recommending anymore, it's just people know more about it than I do. So for me, looking at the IGV, you've already had a nice little bump up there, and the trade desk is not bumping with it. So I would say, we continue the short move there on TTD, and watch out. I mean, it's been a nice move back. If anybody that sort of bought the panic there on the largest volume right into their back-to-back days, one down day, one up day, might have given you sort of a little bit of an indication there that some of the software names are bouncing back up. But now with volume starting to die down a little bit again, I wonder if we're going to head this way, southbound. So Salesforce, Trade Desk, names like that, HubSpot, maybe back down to the downside. Salesforce, I think, had a decent we still have a little bit of time left, only 9:25. We'll get those imbalances in a minute. But you can see here as well, Salesforce, similar bump up, right? And now trying to hold, but still looking like a short to me is Salesforce. So there are some names here that do have a few issues behind them, and the trade desk today getting exposed with that downgrade. There's SoFi with a little bit of a buy, right up to our 1750 area. That could probably be the first trade that's in there today. Nvidia with a buy as well here. Early, it's only 9:25. These just got dropped. Other than that, nothing else that's on my mind. Teladoc, Snapchat, no. So I don't know what CMCT is. But other than that, yeah, penny stock, okay. Other than that, Intel with a small buy. That's only 100,000 shares. That's surprised it's actually bumped up 10 cents there on that. But yeah, so right now it's not looking too bad. Actually, more buys than sells on the open look right here, guys. So Nvidia trying to bounce. Maybe we do get a little bit of a bottom pick there. Nasdaq trying to hold out as well. So nice move higher. All right, 4 minutes left. We had Boeing. I think this is a name where we can get away from all this tech talk, although Boeing does have a lot of tech involvement in their planes. A little bit of a different story. Let's go to the desk to find out. And maybe we want to dip by some Boeing.
That was ugly yesterday, right out of the gate, on some comments from the CFO, more delays, unfortunately, to come for certain models being pushed out to 2027. Some of the numbers they were talking about deliveries this month and last month, just nowhere near what people were expecting either. So yeah, this thing absolutely tanked yesterday down to 207 and change. Not looking good here this morning. Not a lot of volume so far.
No, and they're warning their margins are going to take a hit specifically because of the acquisition of Spirit AeroSystems, a company that they used to own, offloaded, and then had to bring back in for quality assurance purposes. All right, the commercial division operating margins are expected to drop down to negative 7.5% down to negative 8% this quarter. That is higher than expected costs tied to the integration of Spirit that are driving the downside surprise. As you mentioned, Brendo, the CFO, indicated the margin hit is just a short-term headwind, but timing for the recovery is now pushed out. In fact, they're actually saying the prior expectations of positive margins that were expected in 2027 are now uncertain or undetermined. The key issue here, though, is a lack of full cost visibility until the acquisition fully closes and the operations are fully absorbed. They acquired Spirit to regain control, of course, of the critical infrastructure.
Yeah, again, not a heck of a lot of volume here, guys, but if the market does continue downside, this one definitely weak.
You can't have it both ways. I mean, like they spun off Spirit in the first. They went to Spirit in the first place because they wanted to lower costs on some of the production, and then it led to some issues. And they want to keep it in house so they can have tighter control over quality, and that's going to cost more. I think that's understood. It's not good news that it's going to push things back a little bit here, but it's not like this is a change of plan. So I think they're still on course. The 200 level, we mentioned this yesterday, that I think, a retest of the 200, maybe look for a bounce or break a trend is going to prevent a dip buy opportunity for Boeing. I don't know about today, right? Like it's not like this isn't really anything that stands out unless we get all the way down to a big support level like the 05 on point. Maybe look for like a snapback up there. Otherwise, I'll be sitting that one out. There were some, I mean, SoFi kind of bounced here going into this, going into the open on that. It was a 400,000 imbalance. I want to see if it's still there.
I don't think it was that much. There was.
Well, it's gone now.
Okay, I don't
Yeah,
think
it looks like it's just Teledoc.
I think Nvidia might have been the highest.
Yeah, it wasn't that big, but either way, it did bounce a little bit, so it's going to retest that 17.5 pretty much right away. I think we'll get a determination very early, like probably on the first 15-minute candle, how we're doing with that prior support here in SoFi, so that's going to be on watch. Got to be patient with. We're getting a little bit of a bounce here in AMD, so first look will be, can it hold under 97, or maybe we get that big V shape to wait for a fade up here, 199, 200 on a Fed day. I just can't see us blowing all the way back out after that PPI number. That would surprise me on a Fed day.
Yeah, I'm looking for Tesla, so I'm bidding right now. Tesla down here at 397 near the lows. We'll see if we can pick something up. Bidding also Nvidia near the lows as well. See if we can pick that up at 180, 150. Actually waiting at the very low there. See if we can grab that. That's a little bit of a shot there. I don't know if Nvidia is going to go lower than where it is, but and then Alibaba is the one that didn't break on my board yet, 138, but not going to sit there. It's a little too close for that, but keeping an eye today on Alibaba, and then of course SoFi, and then the Nasdaq, right? Maybe we can fade that. I still like the long in the Nasdaq. Less than 10 seconds to go right now before we get open. So I think the first trade that I'll probably be in will be Tesla. So welcome everybody, 2 and 1. We are now open. There goes Tesla, almost right up to 400. Immediately as the market, there, almost back to 400. There goes Tesla right now, 400, 405, 401. Tesla's gone. That was the very first offer that I put, the bid that I put in there down here at 397. We do not get it. There it goes to the upside, goes Tesla, 401, and absolutely rocking. Nvidia holding bid right now. We're going to wait a little lower there at 180, 150. Maybe that comes in, maybe it doesn't. And then SoFi would be the short that I was looking for, but again, a little too early to step in. Dow down 168, Nasdaq still down 0.3.
Yeah, Intel just went all the way to 45 from 44 at the open. You're probably hearing in the speaker in the background, I think it's probably some fire test nonsense. So probably saying disregard any of the fire tests. Whoa, what happened to Nvidia? I was just looking at Intel at the highs and AMD retesting VWAP, and Nvidia just hit back into the low. So that's going completely opposite of what I was seeing here in advanced micro devices. SoFi looks like it wants to hold above that 175, and then Bitcoin is still down at 72 and change. That's not getting anywhere near VWAP. I don't think we see 42 for a fade. Probably got to look at the volume weighted average price. I want to be short on Bitcoin.
All right, we're long now on Nvidia, man. We picked up some of that wick down there. We'll see if we can get something out initially, but then see if we want to hold. See if we want to hold this one. I was going to wait for 181 break. It looks like that might happen right away. Nvidia not catching the bid that I sort of thought it would. So we got to think about getting, well, here it comes. We got to get out a little bit here if it does break lower. No point in, again, sitting in this trade if we don't need to. But yeah, Nvidia, okay, there it goes. Nvidia straight down. So we'll take a little bit of a hit there, going long early on that pre-market low. I just was not expecting this kind of a move, but there, wow, okay. Now we're starting to get extended a little bit here. We'll wait for Tesla to potentially bounce back to the upside, or downside, sorry, right now, because they're getting faded just a bit. And Nvidia, yeah, not holding the bid right now. Downside for NVDA. Give it just a heartbeat at this level, but the next ones are lower. I mean, there's really nothing here. That's why we were saying you got to wait for 180. That might be a disaster to wait for that long. So just give it a couple heartbeats, see what happens right now. Nvidia trying its best to get going again. We're still long at 180, 150. We got out of about 2/3 of that position right there. So fail early on NVDA. Tesla holding 400 though.
And by the way, SoFi is still, excuse me, still screaming. It just hit 17.8. USO oil prices back into the highs as that caught a little bit of a bid off the open. Still not getting that IBIT short. That doesn't seem to want to go there. You're going to want to watch for some of those energy names that are going to be blasting your battles of the world. But look at that. That first 15-minute candle almost certainly is now going to close green on SoFi. You're holding that 17.5. I think a bounce off that level, any kind of a dip is going to make sense. Going in the other direction from Nvidia is AMD. Just tagged that 197 a second time. So if it can close under VWAP, VWAP matters here because we actually had some volume this morning because of the number. So we'll look for a close under VWAP and then try that one short. The only offer I have out is we get like any spike of like 20 pennies and I'll be short IBIT. It just hasn't really gotten up there just yet. I'd say the biggest surprise, maybe for some it's not, I don't know. The biggest surprise was the strength in SoFi. Small buy imbalance and firing off to the upside. Maybe Noto was buying some more shares. I like it a lot for the long term. Just should have given us an entry.
All right, so yeah, Nvidia finally eventually does break again. So we're just gonna wait now for it. I mean, we tried it, did not work there on Nvidia. Give these trades, I mean, a little bit more time, I'm guessing. The Nasdaq, I guess, would have been maybe the one to buy on those dips, but that's not really doing a whole heck of a lot. I thought Nvidia would be going more than where we're going right now. It's still going lower, so that's kind of strange considering what this market's doing. Let's go back over and look at a stock that we know can be strong if it needs to be, and that's Palantir. That's coming back in pretty aggressively right now as well, 154.50. Let's have a quick look at oil. Nvidia broke back above 81, which is kind of something, but I don't want to chase it. Look at oil, days high right now. So, you know, USO and oil right now busting through $98, not good. And there goes USO right back to its highs as well. So oil really driving this market so far. There's USO higher. SLV, once it gets going, it gets going. We've seen that many times. SLV trying to get lower as well right now. But yeah, everything sort of turning on its head.
Alphabet looks like the one that's strong. Alphabet's holding green.
Okay, that's
You're back to green in Google here. Talk about a name that didn't actually have a catalyst that we're going over, but probably one of the better rallies that I'm seeing. Let's see what Amazon is doing. Just want to double check.
Google
I keep looking up.
Google's the only one that's up.
Amazon's at the lows.
Amazon's at the lows.
Let's check what Apple is doing. Apple's off the lows, so it's actually looking a little bit better. You're like, well, what is giving this Nasdaq the juice off of these bottoms? And I'm not saying we're having a huge reaction, but it is at least sustaining through the open despite what was just happening over there in Nvidia. Okay, here comes a little bit more of a bounce. Might actually get to pick up this IBIT on a bounce here. We're just at 72.5 on Bitcoin, so that's I mean, the two resistance points are VWAP and then right here. Just can't seem to get filled on the offer. Oh, is there a halt already?
JXJ maybe? I saw JXG.
No.
AIM.am?
No, AIM is not on the, that's gone.
Okay, I thought that was maybe a halt stock there.
No, someone said AIM halted, but I thought AIM got.
I see it on the halt indicator.
Okay.
AIM.
Well,
here it is here. AIM and
it's not on mine.
Yeah, so it's open now. It's really whipping around like crazy. Here, 156. I don't know if this is a relatively new name here. Coming at 9 o'clock. We don't have any past data on this, so
Whoa.
AIM. Not really sure what this is all about here. Maybe Adara, AIM, that stock, an interesting one. I don't know, AIM, see if you find any information on that one. Okay, go ahead.
I already have info. This is AIM Immunotech. They got a full Japanese patent for Ampligen use with checkpoint inhibitors in cancer treatment. So basically, Japanese patent sounds like for one of their
these days,
treatments for the use to treat cancer.
Oh, I don't know why.
I know. You know what?
You don't have Amex selected.
I probably don't have Amex selected on my halt
That's
scanner.
exactly
It's
why.
anytime someone asks me about a halt, I'm like, I have a halt scanner up, and it probably doesn't have Amex on it. There it is, right there. So that's on me. I have to add Amex to my list, which I'll do in a quick little second. I got IBIT and AMD, but AMD blew right through resistance. Like I got filled, and it blew right through this overhead resistance. So it's about 50 pennies I wanted to risk on it, and that's exactly what we end up risking. IBIT, we did get a fill there. So actually, it's actually holding first resistance, so it's still underneath the volume weighted average price. So this looks like it's going to stay relatively weak. I guess we're in that world where Bitcoin is just going to be relatively weak. Here, I'll make that change. You guys can see me live adding Amex to my list. That's all you got to do. I'm going to have Canada on there as well. So yeah, that halter, we'll see. I think if you're looking at the small cappers today, you want it to be like Battle. You probably want it to be our good friend Indo or TPET. They're all flying. Battle just hit 14 bucks. TPET I know broke $1 earlier. That's at $1.30. And this is all because of what's going on in oil futures. Just be careful, because if you make the top here and we get a big pullback in oil, some of those small cappers could go nuts.
Yeah, right now we're, we did buy back some Nvidia. We're now in a 50-cent winner, but it really sucks to make the lows of the day there on Nvidia. But we had to stop out there. So yeah, the mistrade for me, we were just waiting for Tesla to get back into the lows again, and that never happened. It comes back into 398 and change. That should have been bought. Obviously, it hits hindsight, but that hits the 25 period moving average and the 50 period moving average comes into play there, and then it blasts right off there. Nice little buy the smiley face there, as we hear from Michael all the time. So that could have been a good buy opportunity there as well on Tesla. So maybe we'll have to see if it comes back into this area. So I'm still waiting for 397, but if it does come in there, let's have a quick look at that. All right, I'm gonna put an offer right there. There we go, 53s. Some more outs up here on this as we go. They're going to issue the Jones Act waiver today, possibly, so that was, again, the U.S. ships and everything like that carrying through. And, 122 makes it easier for U.S. Companies to move energy through the Straits of Hormuz there if they do that. And that's just throughout the whole, anything shipping-wise is what that Jones Act is referring to. Looks like that's going to go through today, but USO is still ticking around near the highs as we wait for some more opportunities. I'm not just short IBIT there. Okay, good. So SoFi, it does have that bounce up. Wasn't not really expecting that, and we get right to sort of some levels yesterday where we thought about, getting that short in before that report came through off of VWAP again, right? So VWAP yesterday held on SoFi, and right now we're right at VWAP again here today. So give this one a little bit of room to see what's happening there. Nvidia is trying to still go to the upside. INTC, that's been a big mover the last couple of days. Up 1% there. Looks like the market is sort of fading off of that PPI and starting to sort of get back to the upside a bit there. Looks like oil is going to lead the market early. Let's see if some of these names like Google, Apple, Nvidia, and all that can lead the market back up to the upside here. What's up, Adara?
I want to do a review here of some of these earnings day one plays. Lululemon actually near intraday highs. We know the earnings and EPS here, the revenue and EPS rather, that wasn't the issue. The issue here for Lulu was going to be guidance. They're actually doing quite well. OKLO, which as we know, still not profitable, unfortunately. They are chopping around here, initially move higher, now pushing back to the downside. DOCU doing quite well, though nowhere near its pre-market highs. So just a couple earnings day one plays on watch. GIS also on earnings day one watch, and same with Macy's. Neither of those two active this morning. Back to you.
Okay. Yeah, usually with General Mills, you're probably in it for the 6% dividend, if anything else. Macy's, I just saw, was sliding back down. It was the only earnings name that actually moved anything. It was up 8%, but that Lulu move, hey, it doesn't matter if the guidance is bad if it's been so badly beaten up that people think it's the low. So good for them. Just got to reload. You got to scalp out halfway on this range trade in IBIT, at least for now. It's just holding that low. So we're going to play into this range down into it's about 72.3 or 72.2, 72.5 here, and then probably 72 quarters down at the low. So as long as that one holds the bottom, and it's doing so while the Nasdaq is at VWAP and screaming higher. Now keep in mind, at 8:30, we were pretty much at 603.7. Like we're up here on the Nasdaq when things fell apart again. So that would be the key spot to look for. So that's about where I'd look for like another opportunity to jump into some kind of short trade. SoFi, we thought we'd be a little bit more involved in SoFi. It's really putting a test on that 17.5 on the way back in here. So if it's gonna hold 17.5, this is kind of the determination. We'll get that determination in the next 3-minute candle. And then if it holds VWAP, it turns into a trend up trade. But I can't give up the notion. All we have is one spike at 9:30 and very little follow through yet. So I don't want to give this one a long until I see some confirmation of it in the next couple of candles here. Maheen, one name I didn't mention was Rocket Labs. There was $1 billion offering on Rocket Labs. And it did lose 75, but it was just like SoFi. Like the over-under, like it blasted it on the way up, and on the way back, it kind of blasted it through. So I want to see this level show me a little bit more confidence that it's going to trade underneath, which I think it is. But I'll let it pop back up and hold VWAP. Be patient with this. Rocket Labs was huge yesterday in terms of upside. So it's got a lot of room under $75 to continue to fall. So this pops into VWAP. That's where the short would be.
All right.
Market's blasting, so you want to be careful.
Yeah. Yeah, market's going up for sure. Nvidia seems to be blasting a little bit here. We've almost got $1 on this one, so that's so far so good there. But we got stopped out near the lows a couple times, so we're just trying to make back the damage that we put on early here on Nvidia by taking those pre-market lows and not letting it settle down. You know, so getting ahead of it a little bit, not paying off today, getting involved early on our good friend Nvidia, but up to 182, sorry, we just took some more out there. We still have half left, exactly half left right now. And on that note, might as well take advantage of that, get some more out at 90, so that's a good trade there. Now we'll look for some more. Oh, we wrote down Alibaba we haven't even looked at this yet, 138. It's not really moving around, so like, when we're writing down that level, it's at 140. I thought if it came in there, you know, we could see, you know, a little bit of a reversion back upside. But right now, it's not doing anything, and that's Alibaba just hanging out now at 138. So some talk about they're increasing their prices on their chips. So that would lead to a bigger EPS as long as demand stays there, and I think demand is there right now. So that's probably going to be a good little looking trade there for Alibaba if the market wants to rebound a little bit. Good trade. I mean, Neil's got IBIT over there. We have Bank of Canada in 1 minute, so everybody brace yourself for that one. We'll wait to see where that's going. But here comes Nvidia right back down in. Not really a reload spot for me right here, man. I'm going to wait for 180 and change down near here to see if we get a reload at all on Nvidia. But still in the money, but yeah, getting worse here for NVDA.
Micron just broke its lows of the day. They report after the bell. It just took out 460. Thank you for throwing it in the chat. We'll get to the visualizer in a second, but first we got to go to the desk. Adara.
Yeah, in terms of economic data on our side, or not our side, but on the U.S. side of the border, rather, other than that PPI we got this morning, and of course the Fed at 2, we're going to be getting factory orders at 10 a.m., so you will see me in about 15 minutes with some economic data just because the CPI, or the Canada data was mentioned. I want to talk here about USO because as we did have Sean mentioned, we were hearing reports that President Trump could be waiving the Jones Act as soon as today. Now I'm seeing reports that, in fact, he has issued a waiver here for the Jones Act. That did happen, according to Bloomberg, and they're saying that this waiver will apply to oil, gas, fertilizer, and coal. So again, the Jones Act is part of a larger maritime act, and it basically says that you're not, and again, I'm paraphrasing here, but no water shipments between U.S. ports of goods unless you've got like the U.S.-backed crew, U.S.-made ship, U.S. flag. They're going to be waiving that again for certain exports, according to Bloomberg. And they actually have issued that waiver, according to Bloomberg. Back to you.
Hey, thanks, Adara.
Those fertilizer stocks were crazy last week. Like, what's CF doing today, maybe? Yuck. No. That got smoked off the open here. CF. That's the first one that came to mind. I promised we'd look at it, and it's the visualizer, and it is a four-way battle right now for the top. Battle, BATL, the stock's not battle, AIM, TPET, and Lululemon. So none of the big cap names. SoFi is blasting. That'll be up there. Nvidia is going to make it to 5th. I see silver. I should full screen this so you can see silver. We haven't looked at the metals since the open. ARTL I'm not really familiar with. Trade Desk, Palantir. So all names with the exception of a few here, like this ARTL is the only one that I'm not too aware of, but it's a lot of small cappers, and I think the theme might be energy, especially when you look at those small cappers that are running. And as long as USO goes, it's right back up at the highs, then things like Battle, BATL, it's Battalion Oil Corporation, can look good, although that is pulling back. So 18% up now. Remember what this did yesterday if you're the small cap trader. You know, this fell from basically right here at 14.5 all the way down to 11. So a little bit of a resistance at that spot on Battle. You got to look at those old bag holder levels on small cap stocks to look for potential turns. So inside the range, like again, we just sort of tagged the low on IBIT
like Baba's right here.
As the market's still going. Like if we keep holding the low at some point, there's no other place to go. Like I look over, the Nasdaq is still moving higher as we speak. So I'm going to tighten this one up. Looking at this one for VWAP, but I feel like if you break this consolidation, given the strength in the overall market, then you're probably going to head for a level like this, like 14.15, where I can look for the reload. But certainly relatively weak is Bitcoin for now, because good recovery here. We saw it led by Google with the biggest, well, it was the only one of the Mag 7 that actually was super strong that I could see, but good bounce so far after that 830 number.
Yeah, so far so good. We're getting some more out here on Nvidia near the highs. We did get a little bit out at VWAP when it broke a little lower there through 181.80. But here it comes, man. You are now into Look, it's fine. It's $1, but you know we got stopped out there. It's too bad we punched out there. We won't even be green on Nvidia right now. So we didn't put back on as many shares there as we had. We put back on like basically maybe a third or so of what we had here. So yeah, it sucks, but we can get back to Greensville. We're not going to cry over that right now. Okay, you can also see here as we continue to look to see what that next trade is going to be. I'm into a new one, so we'll hit the sirens up. It's Alibaba. We wrote this down today on our sticky note. You can go find it at Trader TV, Sean. I'm in it very light now because it is at this level, but 138 price hikes on AI chips, check mark, equals more earnings per share. But right now, if the market turns around, I mean, I think it's been fine holding up. I'm in it light right now. I'm gonna take 2 units and that'll be it. So we have half a unit right now, looking for another unit and a half right here at 80. So it comes down to 80, fine. And then I'm not even gonna play this wick, that's just the open. Like if we break below 70s, I'm gonna get out. So I only wanna give this one about 15 or 20 cents worth of risk. Alibaba right now, you know, the spread can be 10, 15 cents when it opens up. So you gotta be careful about trading Alibaba, especially you know, with the market on precipice of figuring out what it wants to do. I mean, we had a nice downside play all morning, and then the market opened up, bounced a little bit, didn't even get to VWAP again, and then, you know, returned back lower. So let's wait to see. I don't want to be caught long on everything, but we're here in Alibaba, and it's only half a unit, so I really, you know, willing to let this go at least to the 50 period, which is 30s, 35, and then up here at 139. So, you know, so far so good. Spend the money a little bit for some of these trades that we have on right now. I know IBIT over there, Neil's done well on, and then we have BABA and Nvidia right now. So those are just the 2 trades for me, and we'll get a little bit more out. Oh, I wasn't even on Nvidia. A little bit more out right there at 182 on NVDA. Right now, and then yeah, you guys, I see in the chat anyways, we can go over the visualizer in a minute, but SoFi still there. Lulu up now 3%. Okay, that's nice. What about Trade Desk?
Lulu with a huge bounce. Lulu high of the day. I know Adara mentioned this one as one of the earnings names. So again, I guess it doesn't matter the guidance, which was putrid. It doesn't matter that you've had 2 straight years of U.S. same-store sales decline. 2 straight years, but Lulu's up anyways. The Trade Desk. One of the worst looking charts you will see over the last 2 years. Huge bounce off of those lows. Maybe this was already a dead cat bounce for the Trade Desk. I don't know. But yeah, this is one I don't want to be involved in. SoFi is looking for a break of the tops. I don't know if it'll actually get all the way to 1820 on this move, but we are going to get this one finally. We'll hopefully get a solid close over the volume weighted average price. Like, it's so whippy in here. There haven't been no consolidations or anything. You had to have sort of guessed at the log. If you simply played the 1750 and said that's the level it's gonna hold, my initial thought was if it broke down, I was gonna short it. So, you know, I was looking for that to happen. It ends up holding the bid. So we'll higher low and we'll play it. IBIT is at the low and continuing to fall here. So this looks like it might end up setting up for just short pops into VWAP on Bitcoin the whole day. Although I do want to look over, like I see ETH, like it's not really, like it's weak, but it's not nearly as weak. And then you keep an eye on what's going on with gold. That's actually heading right back in a little bit here. So yeah, IBIT still looks relatively weak. SoFi hasn't really set too much up yet, and Rocket Lab is nowhere near my price short. I wanted to be short 75 on the way back through. The candle that broke 75 went all the way down to 73.7. So it hasn't really settled in to give us a trade-off fee. Well, but it is trending down. So Rocket Lab down 7%. In perspective, it was up double digits yesterday. So I know that's bad, but it could be worse for Rocket Labs after that $1 billion offering.
Yeah, the name, when you mentioned Rocket Labs, and it's not obviously not the same thing, but Aero Environment, I'd rather buy this name. They're down 2% right now, so you know, a downward push here. Still looking for 200 print on Aero Environment. That could be a good looker there if we can get something in and around that area right now. What the hell, Fannie Mae? There's nothing going on from what I can see, but $4 again. Like, wow. I don't know, Adara, is there something going on? Is there something going on with Fannie and Freddie? Because I didn't see anything either. And I normally look on here when volume starts to spike up a little bit, but it's just straight down. It hasn't been a huge tradable opportunity in my opinion. I mean, this started right at 930, right to the downside, but I just bring it to your attention. This is another one of those names that, like, look at this. This is the worst Sharif, I don't know if you've seen Fannie Mae or Freddie Mac, but or Neil or anybody here, but like this is a pretty. Go ahead.
On X, people just seem distressed that it's going down. That's all I'm seeing.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too.
Come on,
just look at this. Yeah, look, come on, Ackman. Where's Pershing Square when you need it? Right here. You know, right here near a nice level though for Fannie Mae. Like this name has been getting crushed, down half since mid-January. Fannie and Freddie. Just wanted to bring that to your everybody's attention. Right there, right now.
I only say that because like Ackman, Pershing Square has been touting them for a while.
Oh yeah, and they're coming public, Pershing Square. So I got to wait to see.
Yeah.
Allegedly, according to it.
Oh, they're not, Adara? I thought.
Last time they pulled it last minute, so I don't necessarily, because he's like, oh, there wasn't enough interest. So I feel like he does like to kind of play the field a bit when it comes to if there is going to be an IPO. So that's just, and I mentioned that last time this came up too. I'm just a little skeptical.
Kind of jokes is like there's not enough interest in a Pershing Square IPO. Chamath sets a SPAC out there. We have no idea what he's going to invest in, and that's the best performing SPAC of 2026. Look it up.
What is vibe coding exactly? Apple cracks down on vibe. I always hear people. You don't know anything about vibe coding, do you? I always hear people mentioning vibe coding. So I think that's something to do with the open claw and all that kind of stuff. Apple cracks down on vibe coding.
This story's at least 30 minutes old, just so you know. So coming through, I just looked into this.
Do you know what vibe coding is, Adara? I don't know.
I'm familiar with the term.
Yeah.
I think it's like just kind of like coding based on vibes. Like people call it like vibe trading, like just doing whatever based on feeling. I don't know the exact legal definition, but it's something around that.
Yeah, that's probably not the exact legal definition for sure, but yeah, I'm wondering what it is as well. Maybe you guys in the chat could help. And I think that is the open claw thing.
It's just from what the chat's saying, this makes sense. It's like you tell it what to make for you, tell it to code for you.
Yeah, okay.
Right? But I think that's a useful skill. Like having a deep understanding of what you want an app to look like or what you want it to do. Like that's what you want, because you're using AI to do it for you. But if you don't understand what it is that you're trying to accomplish,
that's what I was saying there about OpenClaw.
The Apple story is what.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what it has to do with anything, but it's just Apple. I was only looking at it, and she had already reported the story, so it's just they're cracking down on that. I don't think that's anything. Okay, we did, just quickly, we're going to go over to Adara just quickly. Just want to show you that we did get more down there. Our fill on Alibaba came through, so that's all. Let's go over to Adara. We're now more than $1 as Nvidia's ripping. What's up, eh?
Yeah, just be aware here, the White House now officially announcing a 60-day waiver of the Jones Act shipping law. So we heard reports earlier they were going to announce a waiver, then Bloomberg reporting a couple minutes ago that this was going to happen. Now White House confirming it has issued a 60-day Jones Act shipping waiver. Again, the Bloomberg report suggested it wasn't going to be for all transports, but just certain transports. Back to you.
All right.
Still seeing oil prices head higher here, though.
Yeah, blast off right near. Yeah, oil prices going higher for sure. And what else is going higher is this name right here. Let's go. We put a little bit more money in our pockets here with Nvidia off that long. So we still have a third of it. You know, if we can get the 200 period, good. We did lose out. We do have the low tick of the day. It looks like we may have the high tick soon as well, but not good. Getting stopped out there, but buying it back. And we told you I only bought back of a third of what we had there. So trying to make it a little bit back. We did get a little bit of a bump there in Alibaba, almost into 200 there. 138 there. And we got a little bit out at 93s, but it looks like we are getting close to getting stopped out. If this breaks below, I think I put below 70, so we're getting close to getting stopped out of Alibaba. Not really worth it. You know, if it doesn't want to go, fine, Alibaba, man. We got the fill that we're looking for into this pre-market low. Doesn't look like it wants to hold, so fine. We got to break through. There's just not that much volume going on right now here in Alibaba, and there might not be as much interest in this story as I thought. Cutting the prices today doesn't seem to be affecting Alibaba shares, if anything, going lower rather than higher, rate. Now, I feel like I got like a little throat action over here, but eyes feel heavy, but I think we're fine. Okay, so yeah, just there's Nvidia. We are getting up near the highs again. I do have an offer at 38. So just ahead of the 200 period there for NVDA. Let's see if it gets going there through 182.50 or so. Randy, how's the ladder moving going over there? Good, 2 thumbs up, all right. As we correct
I'm sure he's doing more than
not correct, get more spaces going on here in the studio, man. We're really excited to see where this thing goes.
Yeah, our secret room is now built, so we're locked and loaded there. I'm just gonna quickly change, the stop's gonna move on IBIT. Stops move all the time, but I'm not looking at this trend. So now that we've confirmed we're breaking through the low of the day, then I'm going to respect like our entry in here at that 41.12. And there's our lower highs. If you break this trend line, forget about VWAP. That's where I want to get out of this trade. But it's also where I'm going to look for potential reloads over there. Whoops. It's hilarious. I moved the level 2 to Rocket Labs, or I was going to. But I typed in Roblox because someone in the chat was mentioning Roblox. Roblox actually having a very good day today, worth noting. Rocket Labs does not want to come in and give me a pop for the short. And I'm not chasing that one to the downside, but because someone had mentioned in the chat, Roblox is having a strong day in the midst of market weakness. Not aware of a story here, but it is distinctly different. Good bull flag. For whatever reason, just shot up at the open. Not a good day yesterday, but Roblox, certainly worth watching. Anytime the market is weak, if you can find some relative strength, at least today that isn't an energy name, then good on you, for sure. SoFi is another one of those names that looks incredibly strong. And I'm gonna look at this the same way that we just did on IBIT. It's got a trend from the lows. So you've seen it hold these higher lows. It's going to leave that up and look to try to buy on the trend line here for SoFi. So the short seller report, be darned, it's up 3%. It's above that 17.5. Before it gets to 18.20, I want to buy the dip into the trend.
All right, bang, 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 bang. Now $1.50 in the money on Nvidia. Nice trade happening, hopefully on Nvidia. We just got some more 138s. Like, this might not go. So I'm already out of a third of this trade, waiting for higher now as we go. But there goes Nvidia, man. Like, obviously we have the red mark right down there, but there it goes. Nice upside take there. I'm going to get out of one more piece here in the 40s. 44, there it is. We get that out as we break through the 200 period, and there goes Nvidia battling back to the upside when the futures really aren't doing anything. We like the TQQs down there, but just didn't pull the trigger at 47.50. I'm still not convinced, man. We have, what is it, factory orders coming out now? So let's go back over to Adara and get those numbers in 10 seconds. Factory orders.
Following harder than expected PPI across the board, we're beating factory orders month over month for the month of January. Forecast 0.1%, previous negative 0.7%, and actual print 0.1%. So again, factory orders month over month exactly in line with expectations for the month of January. Core durable goods also in line with expectations, 0.4% versus the forecast of 0.4%. That is going to be a revised print. Market, as we can see, started to drop here around 8:30 a.m. As I mentioned earlier, core and non-core PPI month over month and year over year all coming in hotter than expected. And that's with a couple of hours to go here now until we get the FOMC rate decision for March. Widely expected to have rates held in place. We're going to have to wait and see because we're also getting the summary of economic projections, which will give us a bit more of a sense of how these Fed members are feeling with certain inflation metrics and in terms of rates in general going forward. So this will be a nice gauge for the rest of this year. Let's take a look here at some tickers. SoFi got hit pretty hard yesterday, short report from Muddy Waters, but then later in the day yesterday, SoFi responded to the report calling it misleading, and CEO Anthony Noto picked up another $500,000 worth of company shares, roughly 29,000 shares purchased. Another stock that got hit pretty hard yesterday afternoon is TTD. TTD, the trade desk, getting downgrades this morning from both Stifel and Rosenblatt after reports suggested that Publicis was no longer going to be recommending TTD following an audit. Tons of earnings on watch as well. Lululemon, initially kind of a muted reaction to that report. They did beat EPS and sales. The guidance left a little bit to be desired, but the stock does continue to push higher here. OKLO, DOCU, GIS, and Macy's also were among the names that reported for earnings day one today. And after the bell, we're going to get Micron, MU. Back to you.
And Micron will be a big one, but this next hour of the show, and here at 10 o'clock already, brought to you by Trade the Pool. The markets have been extremely active, and for traders, the kind of movement creates opportunities. Big moves, more setups, more momentum, but to really take advantage of these conditions, you need two things: discipline and access to capital, and that's where Trade the Pool comes in. Instead of being limited by the size of your account, traders can access firm capital and focus on executing their strategy and managing risk. No more fear of blowing up your personal account. No more moving your stop loss too early because you're worried about your own savings. This is what is called limited risk trading. So if you want to take advantage of volatility in today's markets without risking your own capital, visit tradethepool.com, scan the QR code you see out in front of you, and you can get 10% off. I do believe we'll have Mitch coming on next week. Or sorry, tomorrow, I mean, next week.
Oh, good. Go hear from Mitch. I want to talk to him about SoFi, that guy over there.
Talk to Anthony. $500,000. I'm glad there's insider buying, but $500,000 worth is not a lot.
No.
That got bought.
No.
Okay, so like I know it's a good response, but throw a couple million in there next time.
Yeah, I would like to see
Anthony?
that for sure, Anthony. I'm sure part of his pay package is something to do with shares as well.
Yeah.
All right, so yeah, BABA is actually a completely flat trade right now for me. Like literally P&L it's down $7. That's pretty much flat for me there, but there it is. So it breaks lower. We did get a bump up there, and then we lost it once it broke, and we actually got a decent fill at 71. So we didn't get out of everything, but basically a flat trade. The problem was going long there at the beginning at 138. We did get a great dip buy at 80s, but our best outs there were like 10s. And for some reason, this huge ass candle just happened and it just went whoops to the downside. So it's a good thing we got out there. And that's where you need to have stops so that, a flat trade looks something like this. And so that's so far so good over there as Sharif is jamming to the left of me over here. This guy's feeling good, and I like that. We like to hear that right now. Disappointed that you're not at the gym. I mean, I was going to say something. Feels like you're slacking in that department. But anyways, he's over there working it for you guys, man. So shout out to Sharif getting things cooking on his end. So appreciate that. But there it is, man. It's $1.70 now on Nvidia. So we're happy with that trade. Just need to have more shares, of course, on that one. And then, of course, people saying Lulu right now. And that is, I guess, because it's going higher. And there goes Lululemon up 4%. So finally, a little bit of a relief rally in that name. It's been a minute. So that's going to be good for shareholders, up 4% right now.
Yeah, you can't hate on the stock, even when if good news gets treated poorly, then it doesn't really matter. But it's nothing better than when you have bad news and the stock gets bought up. I think that's a pretty good sign for Lululemon. It's still only day one. I put the 3-day rule on it. I wouldn't be doing any victory laps yet. But into SoFi, the only new position is SoFi on this trend is dipping in. I kind of caught it off this prior bar high because I didn't get this break of the bar, so I just jumped in there. But we get a green candle. It can be an ad. You break the trend. I'm out. But then the same thing works for, I'm trying to buy the dip there, but the same thing works for IBIT. On that number, we kind of challenged battling through that low. Like you failed twice to make that fresh low, and you're starting to draw back into the trend line. So we're hanging on to this, looking for, and zoom out, go back to last week, actually, because it's actually on Friday. We closed around that 40, 50 area. So that's where I'm looking for an exit point on IBIT, but we could still break this trend, then have to jump out of the trade in that regard. So only new trade was getting into that dip buy in SoFi. Come on, Anthony, buy another 500,000. Just keep buying more and more. Adara?
Keep an eye here on USO. Iraq now announcing that Iran gas supplies are completely halted. So again, seeing reports that according to Iraq, Iran gas supplies are completely halted. If I get more details, I will let you know. There's also comments coming through from the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. She's testifying right now, looks like in a Senate hearing, saying that if the Iranian regime survives, it will begin a years-long effort to rebuild its missiles and drone forces. So again, there will be some comments on the situation in Iran coming from the Senate hearing. Be aware if you are trading oil. Back to you.
All right, thanks, Adara.
Yeah, I mean, that doesn't sound like a very good headline at all whatsoever. But you are seeing a potential rollover. I don't want to call it a rollover, but you are seeing a pullback in USO. Like here, it's actually breaking trend as we speak, potentially. I haven't drawn a trend line, but it looks like it if I eyeball it. Yeah, exactly. It is breaking trend right here. So watch out for your battles of the world. Watch out for your TPET would have been the other one that I was watching. I'd look for those a little bit later on in the day when they settle down. But the trend is not holding on SoFi. I'm not reversing short. I know this is a trend break. But because it's over 17.5, that was the over-under level. Look longs over 17.5 and join on trend. So the second there was a trend over that price, I'm looking to buy the dip into it, and I have to wait for that level to come back in here again. It's another percentage till it gets there. IBIT's still kind of doing what it was doing before. We are now we're thoroughly breaking the low. We still haven't retested for an entry cleanly. But it's only 10 o'clock. There's still plenty of time. This wants to go down the rest of the day. Then we can wait for that reload anytime we're able to get it. Just jumping back over, and we haven't really talked too much about all of these earning names, and one of them kind of really got lost in the shuffle. It's not doing anything yet, but remember we said about bad news being good and it goes to the upside? Oklow's not bouncing. Watch out for this. Because if this can't hold on to yesterday's lows, even with the market bouncing, even with almost everything else seeming like you're getting dead cat bounces, this could be a bit of a breakdown for OKLO. They got a good piece of news and they missed on their earnings. It's a pre-revenue company. Revenue is 0.
Yeah, not great. We're still on this Nvidia trade. It's now $2 in, so that was a good idea, at least to look over here. There goes Nvidia upside. We really like that stock. I really love some Tesla stock as well, but that's not moving. So I think we picked the right one with Nvidia, it seems like. So that's going to be a good trade there. We maybe have to look at some Google. We know we like that for potential long. Wow, Nvidia is really extending, man. This is a monstrous move here for Nvidia, up to 183.30 right now. There it goes. Wow, okay, slow down, my friend. Nvidia, just nothing but love right now back there to the upside. I mean, I started the show by saying I think the next great long is Nvidia, but obviously they get hit today, and it's only up a little bit, but also AMD straight up 2% now. There that goes. Wow, we are really extending on this play there on NVDA. I hope my guy Marvell is going as well. Not really, 91 and change. Not the greatest day trading stock is Marvell, but again, as an investment, you guys know where I feel about that. Yo, what's up, your doorman? 3rd generation stock trader here. 3rd generation, nice. That's awesome, man. Yeah, I'm in my almost in my 3rd decade, but my dad is an HVAC guy. Okay, 100 plus years of experience, says Nvidia has bottomed. Hey, man. That's what I was saying. So you and I, you got horse sense, your doorman, and you have also 3 generations of it as well. But you and I on that exact same page, man. I think Nvidia, I'm like I said earlier when I started the show, I think this is the one that goes, man. I think you could have a 225 print incoming on Nvidia. I like the stock. I don't know if it's bottomed or not, but for me, I even said today would be a day where I'm going to try to go in and buy a little bit more of Nvidia. So yeah, I like the stock. I think you're 100% on that one. And I'm riding the long here with NVDA, $2 in right here on Nvidia. So yeah, I like that talk, and I hope you're right. Needless to say.
Look, the valuation makes a ton of sense. You can't tell me that the most important stock in the world, like everyone calls it, ends up that cheap relative to like the S&P on a PE basis, and then doesn't. Like the forward is the 22, man. You're one beat away from like every analyst in the world having to slap a big buy on that bad boy. So it is what it is. We did get another super chat here from Lawrence. Where is it?
Andre.
I don't have the page up. Andre, you're going to have to throw that one up yourself. I don't have the page up. I had the ad still up there. Lawrence Mansour. Sean, the greatest trader I have ever watched. You're spot on all the time. May the force always be with you.
Appreciate that. But, I mean, all of us here are, trying our best to get all the trades through. But, hey, man, can we screen cap that? I mean, I'll show that to my wife over there. So thank you so much. That means a lot. It really does. So thank you for that. Maybe I'll tweet that out. But thank you, Lawrence. I hope may the force be with you. But we already have, coming up is May the 4th. So that's a Monday, actually. May the 4th. So May the 4th be with you as well.
It's weird. They're not dropping the movie on May the 4th. They used to do releases of their movie, like Star Wars, I mean.
Yeah.
And there is a Star Wars movie coming up, but they're not doing it on May the 4th. Because that's. Oh,
is there a new Star Wars movie coming out?
Yeah, it's the Mandalorian one. It's Mandalorian and Grogu.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Gorev. Thank you, everybody, for your nice talks in there as well. Okay, so, yeah, that's interesting. I haven't paid attention to any Star Wars in a while, but I did watch the first series of Mandalorian season. No, not... Mandalorian's good.
Just quick, I'll finish that thought in a second.
Yeah.
We just had a bit of a bottom tail again. This is the 3rd time that we've tried to test that low on IBIT. Let me show you the 15 as well here, because as we're coming in, you're filling in this gap, and we're not really we're not breaking through. And with the market kind of in that bounce zone, like how many times do we want to wick that one before just saying, let's get out, take the scalp trade. It's a chase anyways. Like if my thought was the short was up here and then because of the number we're not up here, then this is our first chance to get in. We'll play with the trend line for the rest of the way. But no, all I was saying is the show that you want to watch is Andor. That's the best show.
Andor, yeah.
It's not particularly close.
Okay, good.
Not
We'll get involved in that because Us and the family, we're almost done Abbott Elementary. We watched all 5 seasons of that. The kids really like that. It's a grade school show. It's like the teacher's in grade school. It's really fun.
Yeah, it's got the guy.
It's in the Philadelphia, so it's like urban Philadelphia. So it's a good.
Yeah, everyone hates Christmas. I like that.
There we go. Yeah, you mentioned that. I didn't even put 2 and 2 together. There we go. All right, everyone loves. Money. And Raymond, not a bad show. Everyone loves Raymond there. You don't want to live too close to your in-laws. But there it is right there. Thanks for the long on Nvidia. So you guys are 100% welcome. I hope that it was in most of your portfolios there today, or into your blotters as there it goes. And I'm pretty much like I have 15% left of this trade. So what I'm doing better, and I stayed back a little bit last night and ran some studies and looked at some charts, like you really got to wait for this 200 period moving average and then try to get out like as much as you can near VWAP. You don't want to just get out of everything immediately right away. Let the trades kind of mature up sometimes, because the difference that can make is huge. So like that's made a huge difference today. Like if I just got everything out at VWAP, still would have been a fantastic trade. And there's, I like doing that. And if you're trading more shares, like having outs when you think that there's tops, like I know I have a bunch of marks here, but you could see this looked like it was potentially topping out a little bit right into here, right? On Nvidia, kind of back into those pre-market levels, topping out a little bit. So we did get a bunch out. But then when it broke, we get one out at the top part. Then we let it go about 50 or 60 cents right into the 200. And then we just took like quarters out every single time on the way up. So printing out for us so far here today. So far so good here on NVDA. We'll just wait to see where we can go from here. We don't know, right? I mean, upside so far looks pretty good, but we could easily drop out at any moment here on Nvidia. So let's be patient with it. But only 15% left. And again, thank you for all the nice super chats and everything there. And even Adam DeLuz here. I am the second best trader he knows. The first one is up for debate. Well, hey man, if you know Joe, Sharif, or Neil, then you probably know amazing traders as well. And rank them however you want. But I think the best trader maybe should be yourself. I mean, just get focused, get in there, and although it's really nice to mimic trades around here, it's always better to get your own kind of style, right? And Obi, sorry, forgot about Obi there. I just looked to my left and to my right. Right here.
I'll be straight up. One of the things is to that point about like the best trader has got to be you. It's really important because I love sports and I was a track athlete, and it's one of those sports where I know you're racing against somebody else. But especially if you're a sprinter, your focus needs to be on you in your lane. Like you can't, a 100-meter race, you think you're racing other people. Like you hear guys talk about that, but you are focused on just executing what you are doing. Because at the end of the day, like you're gonna run what you're gonna run. And if you're not Usain Bolt, you were never beating Usain Bolt. You just had to run the best race you can and hope that he falters. And in trading, you just got to do the best that you can do and make your green wherever it might lie. And when doing that, you got to look for those opportunities that are out there. I was just looking over at a name that I ignored this morning. It wasn't intentionally. There just wasn't particularly a catalyst with Intel. And I might have missed a bit of a trend. No, I didn't miss a bit of a trend break on Intel. Like it's all green candles from the open. This is your first red breaking the trend, and now it's trending down. So when that happens, you know what I'm going to say next? Well, if the opportunity is missed for that short, the next one is going to be a trend break to the long side. It did this early. It did this yesterday where it caught a bottom and trend broke into VWAP, and then it did it kind of again here with a trend break. So I'm going to have this one loaded next. If we get a reload on IBIT, so be it. It hasn't really popped to give us a reload on that trade, but I am looking for, now that we've made some kind of a trend to the downside of Intel, look for a bit of a bounce play. The Nasdaq is also trying to hold off of some of its lows. Oh, and for those of you still looking at oil, I know that's going to be a popular theme today. Right back up at those highs. So yeah, a little bit of a pullback. It just can't seem to get any real fallback, which is interesting because as the market was trying to bounce there, you would have thought we'd still have that back and forth, market down, oil up. When the market tried to reverse, you'd see oil reverse. It didn't happen. Battle and some of the other small cappers, not nearly as strong. So you're probably going to need to break the high out for this battle to pick up again. And if USO doesn't do that, I'd be very, very careful here.
Okay, yeah. similarly thoughts there about USO and the market, because like I'm trying to find some opportunities here, because you always got to have sort of a trade that you're looking at and maybe potentially setting up, because you never do know what's going to fall in. And I'm always looking at Palantir. I just, this VWAP is just too, right now it's too much. Like it's too much in the middle right now. Like we've already dipped down below. Like if you take a VWAP fill at 155.50, actually it's not bad. 155 as maybe your bottom, 155.20. Some decent, actually now that I look at this, it's not that bad. Whoopsies, I'm still on the ellipse. Get off of that. Right there, I gotta delete that in a minute. But yeah, this looks like a decent little bottom there. I just don't know about the market. Underneath VWAP, not looking like it's a great little take here on the overall market to think about going long right now. So Palantir is a little bit of a different, this is gonna bug me, I gotta get rid of this, ellipse, remove, right there. So maybe Palantir is not the one that I was thinking about, but nothing else is really hitting any of these scanners of mine. SoFi right now, kind of boring. I mean, this is a level that we liked. Doesn't mean I'm in it or anything right now, but 1750, I was actually looking for it for the short, and it's actually held up as a long there at 1750. We did get out of a piece of Nvidia right there again at 182.90 or so. So that's trying to fall back in. We do officially have 10% left. Let's get a little lighter on that one right there. We'll put an offer at 70s and get some out right now as it's trying to bounce off the 20 period. We'll wait to see if Nvidia can get going back up to the high. So the other idea that we had, you already sort of talked about IBIT. BABA, we're in and out of that. We could go back and look at BABA. We've only traded BABA and Nvidia today. So right there, Alibaba was 138. We were long there. We got 80s because 138 was just a risk because it came in and it sat there. And then it didn't do anything. So I was like, if it's going to sit here, let's take a long. We get 138.05. That goes up into 25 or 30 there. Should have taken that profit and been out of there. But then we reloaded it back when it broke through. We got 138.80. Then our best out is pretty much right here at 05s. And then one big candle downside got us out of that trade. So now we just wait on our hands to see if Alibaba gives us another trade. And then the earnings play tonight that everyone's going to be really excited for.
Micron.
Yeah, it's going to be Micron. So it's still up today, MU. So watch out now. I think it's pretty priced for perfection. But if the demand story is real, then Micron keeps going higher. No doubt about that. All right, Tesla could be another trade lining up for me as well, as it's trying to base right now right at the 200 period moving average. So watch out, maybe a 399.50 hold for Tesla. Let's go over to Adara and then we'll discuss that, but I don't mind that trade there for TSLA.
Let's start here, our small cap recap with an oil play, BATL. You've got like an 8% short float for this one, roughly 220 million, I believe, market cap for BATL. Now, we know oil and energy plays are going to remain on watch as tensions in the Middle East continue. Most recent update we had was the White House confirming a 60-day waiver of the Jones Shipping Act. So that is going to basically allow certain goods, including oil and fertilizer, to pass from U.S. port to U.S. port, even if not manned by a U.S. ship with a U.S. crew featuring a U.S. flag. Let's take a look here at AIM. This one was mentioned earlier by Sean and Neil. AIM Immunotech story here is a full Japanese patent for Ampligen use with checkpoint inhibitors in cancer treatment. So one of their treatments can be used to treat cancer in Japan. Last but not least, LBGJ Lee Bang International. This was on our watch list this morning. There is no news catalyst for this name, but it is worth noting $580,000 market cap, very small market cap, float here of roughly 3 million shares. So small float, small market cap for LBGJ. Make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy the content. And you don't have to just join us on YouTube. You can join us on Rumble. You can join us on X. You can join us on our website. You can join us on, I think, maybe Twitch. Lots of places you can join us. And we're going to send you back over to Neil and Sean.
Yeah, join us everywhere.
Yeah, everywhere and anywhere that we're not. If you think we should be, then you let us know. Let me just make sure I have it up there on TikTok. Get all the way to the top there. I see a few people joining in there. We just had Cisco join, Albert Rodriguez. I see you there joining. Cinnamon Toast Pump over there.
Another classic name.
Hey man, the names you guys on our YouTube follow. You better up your game when it comes to these names. Cinnamon Toast Pump. I'm a big fan of there. But shout out to all of our viewers, and we appreciate you. And we're on Kick, like Peter Ryder mentioned as well. Rocket Lab. hey man, the initial idea was for a short in the stock. And we talk about this, like you don't know necessarily, if I knew what was gonna happen with the PPI number, then you would just make like some kind of a futures bet, like if you had insider information. You don't know what's gonna happen to the market, and that 75, once it gets washed back and forth, end up missing the short. So the only next trade, it ends up being a trend break. It's kind of like the Intel, like I didn't see that short, so looking for a trend break long, but we get a bit of a trend break here on Rocket Lab. We'll play it into the volume weighted average price. Already scalped some out at 1-to-1. We have a user from TikTok saying, you guys are wonderful, started following you from last week and you're grateful. You know what? Thank you. And this is all we're trying to do, just grow that community wherever we're gonna be found. We want people to be able to watch, see what's going on in the markets in real time for free. And that's what we're doing here. M. DeRider, you change your name again? Anyone here? Oh, it's on Kick. Okay, fine. So Mike Peter Ryder is over there on Kick and saying anyone here, LOL. Hey, watch them and all of them if you want to.
Yeah, man.
If you have like 5 trading screens or like 1 million, then throw one up on each one of them.
Yeah. Give us all the love on all of those channels. Thank you, Mr. Peter Ryder. Join us everywhere, man. No matter where you're watching, we appreciate that. That is for sure. So shout out to Mike P. DeRider giving us the goods right there. New position alert. We said we are a little interested anyways here in our good friend for now, Tesla. We made some good trades there yesterday, but I'm only going to give this to 399, sorry, 398. I wrote down earlier 398.50 as a potential area to look at. So maybe we'll just hold out to see if we break finally 398. That low take. So, we are getting stopped out a little bit too early sometimes on these plays. So we'll try to buy some 399.50s or so, kind of the low take right there. We're actually bidding 40s. Yo, what's up? At Checo there, Ash, CEO, I guess. What's going on over there? Thank you for saying hi to us. There's Mike. Oh, that's Mike DeRider again. Oh, he's saying hey to everybody.
He's
again.
everywhere.
Okay. Shout out, Mike. I mean, thank you for
Random Oddities makes
all
a
the
very
fun
good
stuff
point,
that this guy has. Yeah.
Random Oddities, you guys haven't responded to Mike's MySpace request yet. We'll get on that.
Mike's MySpace. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because he's everywhere. And
Are we allowed to be on MySpace? Is that even existing?
I don't know.
Maybe it is.
I'll cop to being old enough to remember MySpace.
Oh, I was not on MySpace, but Sharif was. Sharif still is, he said.
Yeah, for real?
Yeah, he's holding.
He's scrolling something now. Is that you scrolling Instagram? Oh, okay.
He's on Marketplace.
He was on Marketplace looking to buy stuff.
Trying to find
the
shoes
last time I saw Sharif scrolling on his phone, it was it's topical. He just says we're going down that road again. No, the last time it was some very good fitness content, which obviously a dude who works out every single day is going to be looking for that too, right?
Yeah, you need to.
It was good fitness content. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, mine. I was looking at mine the other day. It's like all steaks. I feel like I must have been looking something up about a steak, and now my whole feed is like something to do with steaks. So that was fun times. Bank of Canada, no change today. All right, we did get a little bit more Tesla at these levels, so let's wait to see here. 399. I said we wait for 398.50. That's what we had written down here. But look what the market's doing, man. We're breaking pretty decently lower here, obviously giving me an opportunity to get this 398.50. So let's go 398.50 right here. We'll see about like maybe doubling our position or so at these levels. The market's really coming in now, so not sure what exactly is causing this move, but there it is, the low break of the day, getting me in to Tesla one more time, but there's the low break right now on the Nasdaq, taking it out and getting lower right now. How low can we go? Don't know, but it's going lower. And maybe a quick look on USO. Yeah, going higher now. I don't know if that's the reason for this whole move, but there it is right now. It looks like 398. Yeah, 398 is going to break. Looks like here on Tesla, straight down today for TSLA, or at least on this move anyways. There it goes, Tesla, 398. I'm going to give it a little bit more room because of how dramatic this is, but Tesla's going southbound pretty quickly right now.
So here's the thing. I wanted to reference something that I saw from one of our viewers, but it's like I can't say the name that you've chosen.
Oh no.
It is what it is. I'd let that phone, but I'm not saying your name. You can always tag us. Anyone that ever wants to ask the questions, you can tag us. Like if I want to talk to Sean, I would just do this, right?
Yeah.
I could go hi. whoops, as you see me like not moving high. That's what you would do. And then it'll show up on Sean's thing, like, anyways, if Sean had it up, it would show up, and it would be easier for spots. You can always do that, but just try to keep it clean.
Now shows me right there.
Just try to keep it clean with your names. I don't know why YouTube allowed that name, and you know who you are. I'm just throwing it out there, but I'd love to be able to talk to everybody. I don't like this break of the low, so I'm tightening up the stop to basically like right underneath this bar on Rocket Lab. Like this is not a normal. Yeah, okay, fine, trend break and all that stuff, but look what the Nasdaq is doing here. So I'm gonna really tighten the stop up. We just rejected through 73.8. So it tried to get that 50 cents again and it rejected it. So, don't want this to get all the way back into the lows and think it's gonna be a home run. It's too much counter trend here. So that's the only change for me here on Rocket Labs. Like, where is the strength outside of energy? It's weird, but chart. DocuSign, which was a nothing burger on earnings, is holding above VWAP. We had Lululemon, which is still holding on some strength above the volume weighted average price. Believe it or not, it's a weird one, but it is doing it. So yeah, while the market bleeds, it's a couple of names that you wouldn't have expected. We were talking about how disappointing some of those earnings were in that they weren't moving. Well, now they're holding up better because the market continues to flush. And it's the Iran headlines and it's that hot PPI print. But remember, we do have the Fed today.
Yeah.
So we get to see what they don't do, but maybe what they think with the dot plot. And how much does the dot plot matter until Powell's out and we get into the back end of the year and the war's resolved? I don't know. Adara?
So they keep you guys posted in a couple of headlines related to oil and gas. It's nothing massive, but just stuff to, keep you guys aware. According to Gas Buddy, the gas prices have hit the highest level since 2022 in the U.S. The average gasoline price currently at $3.86 per gallon. Furthermore, Citi forecasting that Brent crude oil could hit $110 to $120 per barrel here in the coming days. Also worth noting, we do have some comments coming from NATO Secretary General Rutte, saying that allies within NATO are discussing how the Strait of Hormuz can be reopened. If I get any more details on that or any plans there or what countries are involved, I'll let you know. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. We're still sitting, so we did get out of some Nvidia right there at the 200 period, so we have 5% left of NVDA. We told you we had less than 10. We got out right there, 7.5, another 2.5 right there, 5% left of Nvidia as we do bounce off VWAP. So far so good there, but not really good holding on to this Tesla down $1 now, reverse dollar club right now on Tesla. It just tried to go back up. We do have crude number out, a build right now of crude. So expecting a draw, it's a build. So that should help. So USO should be going to the downside right now. We'll watch out oil. Again, I don't think the inventories are going to matter that much. We already heard about the U.S. releasing some of their reserve, as well as many other countries there. And it doesn't look like it's doing anything. It's a build instead of a draw. So I was expecting more of a dip, obviously, than this. It doesn't even seem to be doing anything right there. U.S. crude inventories, a build of 6.15 million barrels versus a 1.5 million barrel draw. So much opposite, 6 up versus 1.5 down on oil, but oil saying hold my gallon. Yeah, hold something. I don't know, but I was gonna say maybe not beer, but hold something there. But now oil is going back up to the upside. So interesting trade there on oil. Just gonna wait. I honestly breaking below 397 would really suck, but I think I got to give Tesla just a little bit more room. Starting there was fine. Getting that 398.50 is where we liked in the first place. It only dipped down on the pre-market, and we saw that PPI number. And so we probably should have waited instead of just like averaging in down here. But I like this take near the lows. We'll just see if it holds. Right now, we're trying to base out. We've seen this happen before on Tesla, and it can get back to VWAP quite easily. But, the market needs to go, and right now the market is down at the day's low right now for the Nasdaq. So, obviously a bump up would be really nice, but we got to wait for that to happen. So there's not much for me to do right now. I mean, we could get out for 75-cent hit. If it's not in your wheelhouse right now to hold on to something like this, it is bouncing a little bit, and you may have gotten a decent dip buy opportunity there. So maybe if you're long, sort of where we took our last bit there at 80, then you're in the money now, 40, 50 cents. Could be worth something, but I'm stuck a little longer than that. So I'm just going to wait. It doesn't really matter the price you're in, but it's just looking, I mean, that's matters for P&L, but when you're looking at a chart, you got to sort of think like, I think there's an opportunity to get this back to VWAP right now, especially if we can hold down here. So I don't just want to punch out immediately and then regret doing that. We already made a low take there on Nvidia. It's not revenge trading. I like this spot. This is a spot that we've talked about, but with oil, man, like that was not a good look. I was hoping oil was going to go back down, and it's not. So yeah, the market may crash the party. I think that's about right there. Shout out to your doorman in the chat there, maybe. But here we go. Right back up to the upside right now comes Tesla. I'm going to take a little bit off at 50 if we can get that, just to relieve a little bit of this pressure.
So two things happen. One, I did tighten that stop up in Rocket Lab. I know usually it's a prior bar low, but again, Rocket Lab's down 9%. I initially did like it short, and it just could not break through when the market was breaking the low, so there's a tightened up stop. I'll do this to save you from having to watch me flip charts in case it doesn't go right away. Oh, and it did. All right, there you go. Intel breaking and like the all morning trend is a break that's already happened. Like if I go from the high at the open, it's already breaking that trend. So it's at VWAP that it happens to be breaking. I know VWAP is just a line on the chart. I wouldn't usually enter a stock at VWAP, but it doesn't matter. Like that prior bar after the trend breaking happened to be the volume weighted average price. If we lose the 30 level, or like 29, it's about 15 cents worth of risk. It's like 28, 29 in here where that wick is. So if we lose that, then I'm out of Intel. But just looking for those trend trades, I would be at least a little bit concerned if I was trading. Like look at USO, look at TPET. Look, and we already showed battle. Like this is, like they're not going up anymore with it. So if I see an actual turn in USO, I want to pay for locates on this because it's a small cap gapper with an obvious catalyst that it's running on, which is going in the other direction. And if it holds under VWAP, then I think this turns into a short for most of the day. But that's only if I see the turn in USO, so I'm going to keep that up. But I got to pay like whatever that 1/8 of 1 cent that this will be for locates on TPT. Just feel like it's not as strong as Battle. That's why I would pick it over BATL and some of those other small ones. And there's also, I know Artemis just mentioned, there's a bunch of these that we haven't talked about.
Artemis?
TMDE is another one of these small cap energy names that is moving around precipitously. But this is, again, above VWAP, and TPET is below or just underneath VWAP, relatively weak. I'd rather look short if we get a turn in oil on one of those, on the weaker of the names. Like instead of picking on the strong one, pick on the weak one. So this will be a couple of cents. Well, fractions of cents for shares probably.
Yeah, I think that's smart to do that. I mean, with oil, just everyone talking, everything right now about that play. I mean, looking at a battle, looking at TPT, things like that. But I think it's smart to make sure that you do what Neil was doing there, double check if it's pay for short or not on your platform.
You don't want to go punch for short and then...
That's it. Like this trade's setting up, you're waiting for it, and it's like, boom, there it is. And it's like, nope, can't punch short. And it would have just cost you $10 or something. Make sure that you can get that opportunity going. We take an opportunity there to get some out at 398.50. We talked about that. It did come back in. I am looking to reload this. If we can come into 397.50 is an area that I was thinking about. And then dropping it out, that low is 396.75. I don't really want that to come into play. What I want doesn't really matter. That's a pre-market level. So, thinking like 397.50 is right into here, right where the market opened up. So, maybe a drop in below this that's 397.50 right there. A drop below 397 might do it for me. We can wait. It's just a matter of the amount of shares. Like even waiting 50 more cents, depending on how many you have, that could be your week or whatever, and you want to be sized accordingly. And with the market coming back in like this, doesn't really feel like the long is, the most solid playbook trade right now. So if it bounces, great. I am willing to take a little bit more down here, but also waiting for this thing to mature back to the north side right now. So that's going to be that trade. Roblox, what is that hitting on my? Okay, that just pulled back a little bit here. So this hit.
It was strong earlier.
Yeah, that's why I think, because it was, as Neil just mentioned there, stronger earlier Roblox. Yeah, just pulling back in. I missed it. It broke through VWAP, so that alert was a little while ago. Didn't realize Roblox was this strong. We had that question yesterday about software stocks. I said Roblox. I mean, I like the name. I think that, especially with March break right now, spring break right here, happening. And, you know, I know there's a lot of kids, obviously this is just in Ontario, but a lot of kids on Roblox.
Well, in the U.S., they do spring break.
Yeah. I
Like
just don't know if it's this week. But anyways, Roblox, they don't announce daily active users or monthly active users anymore. So it's not like it matters for right now. But I like Roblox. I think there's an opportunity to go upside. The other name that I mentioned yesterday was Take-Two, based, of course, on the fact that Grand Theft Auto is coming out, and that could be a good little take as well. So a little bit lower on Grand Theft Auto. Watch out for 200, 190 and change, and just getting hit, right? We heard that software, they were making games easier, and Google announced some sort of a gaming engine that really sent Take-Two down and sent Unity down and different names like that to the downside. But I think this is a decent level. Just to wait to see if Grand Theft Auto is exactly what they're hoping it's going to be, and that is a monster blockbuster. So if that can come out, that's decades, hopefully, of recurring revenue for them. I don't know. I assume you pay for something in-game purchases or something there. I don't know enough about
anything that doesn't have in-game purchases at this point. It's just like you're throwing money away.
Yeah.
Like that's it. When something is the expectation, then you know you can get away with charging it. It's like you have to charge. You gotta find a way to adapt. We're gonna go to Adara, look at sector watch. Hopefully we can find something that is stronger than the market that isn't energy.
Neil, unless you're looking for energy, unfortunately, you're out of luck here. Energy is really the only sector where you've got at least a couple names that are notably strong. CVX, VLO, MPC all to the upside. Now, we have some strength in producer manufacturing, though certainly not the entire sector. GEV and PH here, both to the upside. Utilities, you've got almost a 3% move to the upside in Constellation Energy Group, one of Brendo's picks for the year. Everything else here is going to be red. Now let's get into weakness, which is pretty much the rest of the market, unfortunately. You've got a lot of weakness here in consumer non-durables. Philip Morris down 3% PM. Health Tech Eli Lilly with its second red day in a row following a pretty big downgrade yesterday. AbbVie down 3% as well. Consumer services red. Process industries red. Non-energy minerals bright red here, so keep an eye on like copper and gold as FCX and NEM both to the downside. Communications to the downside. Retail trade sharply to the downside. Finance, a little bit kind of more flat than anything. Tech services, again, also relatively flat, though you do have Intuit down 2.5%. And electronic tech does have some relative strength. Intel up 1%. Fun fact, today is the 1-year anniversary of Lit Bhutan starting at Intel. So happy 1-year birthday at Intel, Lit Bhutan, and happy 1% to the upside for INTC. AMD up about 1% here. We know they entered that deal with Samsung for HBM. Back to you.
Shout out to
Hey, I didn't know that. And yeah, 1 year. Shout out to him.
Infographic celebrating it to come.
I'm sure you'll have like the performance of that first year. Although when you're talking about a big turnaround, you know, like 1 year is not when you've had years of losing ground. 1 year for any CEO is kind of unfair when it's been a mess for longer than a year. How do you expect? The stock price, yes, but that's because the U.S. government took a bid, and we probably just jinxed the turn. Because there was the trend break, and the thing that it's doing too is it's like the market's at the lows and it's trying to put in some higher lows, but this is it breaking trend. It just turned right around at the $0.50, but Intel does this every 25 cents or so. It's a kind of, it gets a $40 stock, so support at 44, you know, resistance at 44.75, resistance at 45. So it's going to need to hold VWAP, and then I think this can be a potential add for VWAP long, so long as the market can evade this drop. I don't see any way in which we make some more fresh lows here in the Nasdaq and even a strong relative stock. If it's in the tech space, it's probably going to be a rejection as well. And Tyler verse, you're like, why long Intel? It's pretty simple. The market's at the lows. It showed relative strength by putting in a higher low. If you when I look at my 3-minute chart, this is the open. This is the higher low here, then a higher low there, and this is it breaking trend right at the volume weighted average price. In here, stop there, play to the high is the play. Do I like the chart on the daily chart? Nope. We said this the other day. I don't like the fact that you're losing the 50 period on the daily, but that has nothing to do with the trade-off of VWAP intraday. It doesn't look very good here for Intel. It's been beneath the 50 period before, but if it lingers for more than a couple of weeks, that's generally been a bad sign. It hasn't done so just yet, but the fact that we're back underneath is not a good sign for Intel.
Yeah, I'm taking, just talking about chip names there, I'm going to take another out here on Nvidia at 40. So we just did that right now as it's just hovering around here. It's like I feel like it's going to go meme crazy to the downside. Like it's not running the bid like you can see it do sometimes. If anything, there seems to be like some sort of a supply issue here, holding this down into 182.40 right now. And I don't know, maybe the same thing happening on Tesla as it's trying to go up and just bouncing off of here again. I mean, we could just sort of swallow it and just say we're out right now around 398.50, take a 35-cent hit on this. But, you know, if the market blasts and the seller relieves, then yeah, I really do think the 200 period, something around $400 is going to be in sight for Tesla today. It's just that, can we hold it all that way? You know what, like, all right, I'm just gonna get out another 10% at 45, you know, if we're able to do that, and then ease back and wait in case we get that move up. Because, you know, to sit here in the long when it looks like right now we're just rejecting, we're underneath everything. We tried to let that thing go. It doesn't look like it wants to. We will take a bid somewhere around here. But yeah, the bid looks like it's getting degraded right now, to say the least. Breaking back down and making a new low possible there. And we saw sort of in Nvidia that there was, I don't know about a supply issue, but there was someone selling. It looked like at 182.40 at the 200 period. So good thing we got out of that one. We didn't have the same sense here for Tesla. But if we do get a bump up, let's take out another 10% or so here at 398.40. Maybe we get out of that one alive, or we don't. All right, market right now going lower. Micron, we've seen a run to the best names when the market gets hit, right? And you can see that's happening right now on Micron. It's not even going down right now. So market at lows, Micron saying, well, yeah, you know, we don't want to go down, so we're not going to, regardless of what the market does. So for me, it's looking strong, right? I mean, if the market turns around, then where could we possibly go? We've already gone 460 up to 464 right there a couple times. This time we went to 67. So 460 looks like a decent buy zone here if the market can't get going. Maybe we'll look for some strength in Micron at some point there today. And then SoFi would be the only other name. We did trade, I only traded Alibaba, Tesla, Nvidia today. SoFi, good look, but look at the chart. I think we all thought that was going to do a little bit more than it's doing there today, but nice to see that it's stabilizing a bit on Tesla, on SoFi. I'm looking at Tesla because I'm almost got filled there. It went to 398.50 again. I'm at 398.44. It went to 398.40s. But yeah, look at Alibaba. That was in and out at 138. Yeah, that was funny on Tesla. It literally just printed 1 penny outside of where I was sitting. So hopefully we do get a bounce up. It's only 10%, so I'm not going to move it. Let's just hope that we can get that, and then Tesla will mature up into that $400 mark, and that'll be good. There it is. So we get it anyways. Not diamond hands. We're going to see if we can have some now on the upside here for Alibaba, for Tesla.
And even I was
traded a few names today.
I know, even you had me saying Alibaba right there instead of Tesla.
Oh, Google, yeah, that's probably a good one.
Hey, no, Google was the strongest name this morning in the Mag 7. No, it's at VWAP. Like it's actually very similar to like the Intel. Put in a higher low here. I'm trying to find a sneeze. Put in a higher low when the market's at the low and try to break through VWAP as the market tries to hold the low. So yeah, that's like relative strength. I always would rather try to look for a continuation long in something that's relatively strong, as opposed to like trying to pick the bottom in a general sense. But it doesn't mean it has to work. And it's a very similar setup here for Intel. What could, and I want to say hopefully give the market some juice, would be if we've made a bit of a top. Like USO is now just hanging at the highs. And it's been failing to make a new high since we had the inventory number 15 minutes ago. So if that does turn, it's still trying to turn. If it does turn, I'm still looking at TPET, which is Trio Petroleum. I actually didn't know what the name of this is. I just call it TPET because it's TPET. So Trio Petroleum for a breakdown underneath VWAP. But you are starting to see some signs of the top there in USO. Tyler Verse just asked what about BBAI lows?
Was it low again?
I haven't looked at BBI today. It's the first thing I'll always say. If it's not in play, there was no story here on BBI, so I don't know a reason why it would be in play. And you're probably looking at the daily chart, holding this $4 level. Well, if you look at when it broke off the $4 level last time, So here, when it broke off of at 4, would it have even been that bad if you had it when it confirmed at 5? Like, you're just hoping it's breaking from here now. Like, you could take the consolidation long, but you could also just take it when it either, oops, I don't have my tool drawn. You can maybe connect those and say, let it break that, but then you're just talking about the 50 period and the $5 anyways. I don't like trying to guess where the low is going to be on a stock like this. I'd rather it break some kind of a downward trend or start to get going before getting involved. Or look for a catalyst, right? Like, that's, if you're aware of some upcoming catalyst in BBAI, there's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, I don't think there's any upcoming catalyst, but
they've already reported.
Yeah, they've already
like,
reported.
unless there's
Everything's
conference
through that,
or something.
You know, you have AI on your name right now. We've already talked about this. A little bit of a problem coming through. We did get a little bit more there just because we got out at 50s last time there. 44s. So I'll buy some 07s again. Now just, and not even that much, man. My average price was 80 last time. Now it's 75. So we're not really adding to the kitty too much here, but willing to be long that name just in case it does come back in. Like, I'm looking for things to trade here, and honestly, like, nothing's really hitting too many of my levels. If you're gonna look here at the broader market, pretty red today, needless to say, right? I mean, it looks like energy is gonna be the one spot where we've seen some strength in the market, as we've heard, you know, some of those oil fields being attacked, gas as well, nat gas being hit, and then we had a complete sort of evacuation of some of those oil and fields and whatnot there in the Middle East, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and all that, sounded the alarms just to get out, as they were expecting potentially more action in the region. So not great there. And we have Tesla's falling back down again here as the Nasdaq's trying to make new lows. Look at health technology, man. We gave that to you yesterday with Eli Lilly, and we talked about that break of 965 yesterday was a good way to get out. Now it's 912. So swing trading Eli Lilly, probably done pretty good so far there on that short, I would say. All right, that's what this looks like. I mean, AbbVie down 3%, not going well either. The financials, man, Visa down 3, MasterCard down 3, American Express down 1, Berkshire, JP Morgan up. All these grays are slightly up or slightly down. The greens, obviously what they are, and the more red, the more dramatic. So puts my eyes over here to Robinhood down, yuck. Robinhood down 3%. Looking for that a little closer to 70, I think. And then Coinbase down 4% today, back to that 201 area. So yeah, things aren't looking too rosy here in the broader landscape, as S&P 500 was up yesterday, down both indexes right now, down 0.75%. So all right, it's 10:50 right now, so we got to get ready for Money Talk. So if we're ready, Andre, we can go over there. We have the thumbs up, so let's go over to Adara for Money Talks.
Before we talk about money, which I promise we will, I do have to talk about a report from Axios citing some U.S. officials, because this does concern the situation in Iran. Axios, again, citing U.S. White House officials, saying that President Trump views regime change as an additional gain if they can get it in Iran, but apparently he does intend to end the conflict once his main objectives are achieved. Said main objectives are apparently to destroy Iran's missile and nuclear program, its navy, and the funding of its proxies. Now, they're saying Israel, though, also has other targets. Again, this is from the same White House official, and that Israel is actually looking to take out, as it were, the new leader of Iran, though the U.S. is not too focused on that. So again, just some comments here coming, reported by Axios, coming from some White House officials on the goal in Iran. Keep an eye on USO, of course, with that in mind, but also keep an eye on the US dollar. This uptrend that we've had here, again, from those lows in January 27th, it's been maintained quite nicely. Today, trying to bounce here a little bit low of session around 99 halves, high around 98.20. Let's see if we can break back above that 100 level when we get that FOMC rate decision, which I'm going to mention, but I do want to remind you guys as well, PPI was in focus today. Producer price index hotter than expected for all 4 of the readings. PPI month over month 0.7% versus 0.3% expected. Year over year 3.4% versus 3% expected. Core PPI month over month 0.5% versus 0.3% expected. And core PPI year over year 3.9% versus 3.7% expected. So all of those prints going to be a little bit hotter. This is how we got the votes last Fed meeting on January 28th, 2026. There was no rate change. 10 Feds voted in favor of this decision, but there were 2 that were feeling a little bit more dovish. Now, Fed's Myron, for what it's worth, has all but confirmed he's likely going to continue to vote for rate cuts. So we are likely to once again get yet another dissenting vote at today's meeting, where we have 98.9% of participants, as of the last time I checked the CME FedWatch tool about 5 minutes ago, 98.9% of participants expecting rates will not be cut or raised. They will, in fact, be held. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. We did get a super chat just now, and it happened to be about, as you're going through some of the sectors there, Coinbase was mentioned. Random Oddities, want to thank you for your super chat. Coin just teased the 50 EMA on the 2-hour for the first time since last week. Does this look like a cup and handle? Here, let me go over to Trading View to see if it's going to look like a cup and handle, because I don't know, whatever, for these different time frames. That's what I like to do. So we'll go to 2 hours very quickly. You could make that argument. And then if you go, like I changed my daily over here to a 1 hour, you can see it's also at the 50 period on the 1 hour. And then if you go to the daily chart, it is also on the daily. See, this is why sometimes, there we go. It's also trying to challenge the 50 period on the daily. Like you are seeing, it's a break of a downtrend, right? And then you're seeing it consolidate here for a potential breakout. Now, has it broken out yet? I don't know. Like I think it's just a pattern on a chart which shows a potential higher low bottom and a break of the trend. But until it actually breaks out that high, I think you're just kind of guessing that that's going to hold. So Bitcoin holding 70,000 will probably help, right? Like if Bitcoin holds on to the 70K on the weekday that it's having here, it's at 71, and I think you could get that bounce. But sometimes those patterns, like to me, it needs something else. Give me a positive catalyst with it. Let it show me that bullish pattern presents a breakout, and then you take the breakout trade. For sure, we had Michael Shannon always talk about when a stock is in the penalty box, the term he used, or it's like guilty until proven innocent.
Yes.
Right? Like, yes, okay, so it's starting to look good, but until it shows you something a little bit more definitive, you should be more skeptical of a bad-looking chart. Right? Like, ask the trade desk. How many times have people been looking for the bottom on the trade desk? Is this the bottom on the trade desk? I don't know. Maybe. Not having a bad day. Oh, never mind. This was having a good morning early, but it's right back underneath. VWAP down 6%. Don't guess at those lows. It's such a tricky game to play on poor performing charts.
Is it going lower, trade desk? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't hope for any stocks to go down, right? It's the first one that came to mind. Was the trade desk when we're talking about stocks in a downward trend. Coinbase is not as bad as the trade desk, but it is still trying to prove something after a rough last year.
Tesla's just trying to prove that it wants to hang it around 398. It's doing absolutely nothing. It went down to 397.80. It just went back up into 30s again. Potentially deciding to wrap this thing up and take like a 25-cent hit here at 398.50 the next time it comes up. I'm not sitting there doing that. My kid right now, he just had his motherboard delivered. My 14-year-old we got him a new GPU there. So we got a 3060 Ti there. We got that off Marketplace, and he needs a new motherboard for that one. So he got delivered. So can't wait to get home and help him with that. But he's pretty good. Man, we got thermal paste and all that. So he's got a cooler going on there. This guy's got too much. That's not the cooler I need has to be stocked with something else. All right, what's for lunch? Here today. All right, this has been a good lunch. The last couple of times we've had this, and might need it here. I keep forgetting that today is also Fed. Like we keep thinking about why this market's maybe not doing anything.
But it's because we know we're not getting our change.
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. Like the market just ho-humming this right now. Maybe until 2 p.m. we just kind of drag lower and watch out for oil. So just something to think about right here. Today is not chicken. Today is black pepper beef with the Chinese flags. We've had this many times. I think it's been good pretty much every time. We'll hope the portions are a little bit better, obviously.
Yes.
Black pepper beef with steamed broccoli. I know you're not a huge fan of broccoli, but I really love broccoli. Rice noodles, I think those are the popular ones. And then green salad. So that's what's for lunch. Black pepper beef, rice noodles, broccoli.
As long as you don't overcook the beef, I think we'll be happy with that.
Yeah, exactly. So we will probably get a good one there. So yeah, join us and we'll rate that a little later as the day goes on. But yeah, Tesla just hanging out, and I really do think that is something on Tesla and on the market, right? The fact that we are waiting for Fed. So we could just drift around with whatever the heck oil winds up doing. So that's the whole thing. Like right now, oil's going higher.
Tail candle there on USO.
On USO, yeah. So as long as oil keeps going higher, I feel like the market will just hang out a minute. But who knows? Hopefully we're wrong on that one. And here it comes. I'm almost off. I just want to tell everybody, like, here's Tesla right now. It could be a small hit if you want to get out. Like, it's just bouncing off there. And if you've been going long near the bottom, there we go. So I just took another piece out, just 10% off, like we said we would do if it came back up. So we reloaded a little bit there. We got a little bit more out right there. So just letting you guys know that that's in my playbook right now, but still holding 80% of the trade. But there it is, man. You want a 25-cent hit, you could take it right there for Tesla. It does look like there's some supply in and around 398.50.
Yeah, with 2 minutes to go, USO did just pull back a little bit here. So let's go to Adara before sending you over to the midday.
I'm going to tell you guys, keep an eye here on INFQ. This name moving around a little bit after posting on its social media a photo, I guess, with one of its representatives from Inflection here, INFQ, with the director of quantum product from Nvidia. So it looks like, again, potentially some kind of quantum collaboration or at least conversation between Inflection and NVDA. Again, the ticker for this is INFQ. This name also popped yesterday after they posted on their social media about how happy they are that the UK has this quantum program. Back to you.
Thanks, Adara. And they're already buying the dip in USO. Like it was one of the heavier candles that you've seen on that 3 minute in a while, but it's already starting to get bought back up. But it is looking like a potential turn. I said I would only short TPET if USO showed that it was breaking that trend. It's not. USO is not down enough to be breaking the trend, but TPET is already underneath VWAP, so it still remains one of the weaker names. Only 1 minute to go in there, and I wanted to throw up the visualizer because I feel like we didn't really, there's a couple of names that we didn't really talk about. Nvidia, Tesla are going to be up there. TPT we were just mentioning, SWMR, SWMR.
Oh, SWMR.
That got mentioned, but it was this DVLT. So I want to give a shout out to all the penny stock traders out there. If you were involved in DVLT, it actually broke that 70. It was like a 77 breakout that just, look at the wall at 77. It couldn't go more than 1 cent. But it's testing toward the $1. So I will always say caution to the $1 on a failed break if it does, but it's up 25% today. And there is some strength in it. So it's going up. The market's cutting back up here. Ooh, that's pretty nice. And you're now getting a bigger move down in USO. So bigger move down in USO. That's going to bode well, I think, for the market. Intel's starting to get off the VWAP. I'm going to take a leg out of this in front of the high of the day in case it gets rejected. But yeah, nice little bounce here. Oil goes down. Market recovers back to the upside. That's what you want to see.
That's exactly what you want to see. Yeah, good little trade there. We'll go to the face slapper happening for us on Nvidia. That's making new moves higher. And there it is, man. We got the reload again on Tesla. So reloaded again and out again at 50. So we're just scalping out like 30, 35 cents right now on TSLA and hoping for a higher take right now. All right, good show. We're going to go back over to the side desks in just a couple seconds. Thank you, Fabian, Ramin, everybody today, Andre, Sharif. Maybe she's not here yet. And obviously to Adara as well. Thanks, Neil. Thanks to everybody on the chat.
Shout out to Randy for giving us the extra
Yes, shout out to Randy.
There.
Yeah, I saw actually have half the banana in here as well. We'll have some potassium, then we'll get going. There goes Tesla. Finally, we're in the money. Just as we leave you guys on Tesla, trying to break above 50s, hitting 60s right there for a couple seconds. The P&L went green there on Tesla, but we got to get going a little bit more to the upside. It's your midday show, and it's happening. There goes Tesla, finally, right now back to the upside. So you know what I'm going to do? Get some out and throw it back over to these guys right now. Ciao, everybody. Bye-bye, Tesla, hopefully.